Good evening, friends. Uh, on behalf of SME Chamber of India and SME Export Promotion Council, I, Sakshi Kulkarni, Director, SME Chamber of India, welcome all of you for VASAI Industry and SME Summit. I would like to special thanks to all our sponsors, those who have sponsored this event today. And because of them, it is a grand success. We can see a lot of entrepreneurs are here from Vasai till Boisar and from Virar and other places. And special thanks to IndusInd Bank, Kotak Bank, Bhumi World, Tata Tele Business Services, Drip Capital, our travel partner, which is a Make My Trip startup, and FedEx. We are starting with the event, and first I would like to invite Mr. Mahesh Kumar, Director, SME Chamber of India, for the welcome and introductory address for this summit. Please.
Thank you, Sakshi. Good evening, Vasai. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. जो ठंडा नहीं पड़ना चाहिए SMEs का. On behalf of SME Chamber of India as well as SME Export Promotion Council, Bhumi World, and our all partners, it's my immense pleasure to welcome all of you for today's summit, Vasai Industry and SME Summit. Basically focus on technology, finance, exports, and other initiatives by state and central government, how these initiatives are going to beneficial for the SME sector. So we have here experts from various fields, from the banking, finance, trade finance, plus strategic initiatives. So they will help you to guide you, to update your knowledge. You can ask them the questions during the interactions sessions, and this will be a I think so power pack program for almost 3.5 hours. So we are starting at 5 o'clock, so almost 8:30, and then we have arranged a nice dinner for you people. So meanwhile, I think so all people are hungry for the knowledge. So we will start with the knowledge sharing sessions, and on behalf of you people, I welcome all the dignitaries over here. Give them a big round of applause. All the way coming from Mumbai to address all the other cabins. So little bit introduction about the SME Chamber of India, what we are doing, how we are working, and how it will be beneficial for all of us to have the mutual benefits to all of you. So starting with SME Chamber of India is basically a 29-year-old organization and working under the dynamic leadership of Mr. Chandrakant Salunke, who is the founder and president of the SME Chamber of India, as well as he is on the various organizations, various boards, state, central, banking fraternity. He is giving the inputs to the industry on behalf of the industry fraternity. So, friends, you know, SMEs are playing a very crucial role for the development of the nation. It is the backbone of the Indian economy, we can say. Almost 65 million MSME units, contribution to 29% to the GDP, 80% contribution for the manufacturing output, and majority role plays for the employment generation. So majority employment generation is done from the SME segment. So these are the definitions. You all are aware about the definition of the MSMEs. This is a revised definition which has helpful to the MSME sector, which has excluded exports from the turnover, export turnover. So जो MSME का दायरा है वो थोड़ा बहुत बढ़ गया है अभी, and you are getting the very good benefits from our government as well as state and central government. So government के जो various schemes वगैरह आ रहा है, so it is very useful for you people. You should have to understand what are the things available to you. Right knowledge होना जरूरी है, right time पे knowledge होना जरूरी है, and how you are utilizing that knowledge for your benefit. That is the most important thing. So these are the little bit challenges for the SME sector. Those challenges we are going to cover here today through the our eminent speakers from the industry. Majority, banking finance is the biggest challenge for the SME sector, and that is to be adequate banking finance and timely banking finance. If you see, there are some reports which says 16% MSMEs are getting the timely finance and adequate finance. All other MSMEs are not getting timely finance. There are the various reasons from the MSME field also and from the bankers' point of view also. So we will see how we can patch up those things where MSMEs are lacking to get these finances on time, as well as how they can go ahead, how they can enhance their manufacturing, enhance their capabilities, capacities. Second thing, skilled manpower. We all know what happened after the COVID. Okay, so after the COVID, manpower was not available. All the people have traveled, migrated to their places, and huge losses have been suffered by the MSME sector. So how you can generate the skilled manpower? What are things to generate the skilled manpower? There are academia people are here also. How industry and academia can play an important role to skill this manpower. There are the other issues also. Identify new marketing, availability of latest technology, low production capacity. So these things we wanted to cover, as well as we are giving the knowledge to the industry through the SME Chamber of India. We have the experts panels. Whenever you need some sort of information, you write to us. We will be happy to provide, to connect the support on time. These are the some initiatives where SME Chamber has put up a lot of efforts. SME Stock Exchange during Mr. Bhave, when he was a SEBI chairman, that time Mr. Chandrakant Salunke has put forward one thought to him to start SME Stock Exchange to get a new, we can say, era financial model to the SME sector. And after that, 2-3 years later on, SME Stock Exchange has come up, and almost I think so BSC and NSC, total inclusive approximately 800 companies are registered on this platform with the cap of more than 50,000 crore. So these are the alternative sources of financing, how you can take advantages of these things and grow. So you have to understand all these things. Then trades platform is there. How many you are aware about the trades platform? How many industries are aware of the trade platform? Okay. So how many are the manufacturers today here? How many interested in the manufacturing? Oh, almost 80-90%. So good. And how many are into the exports? Good. Majority. So trade platforms is again a very good platform to the industries to discount your bills. Then collateral free loan, you must be aware about the collateral free loan. Up to 2 crore collateral free loans are available from the banks. These are some objectives where we are helping the industries. SME Chamber is dedicated to enhance the competitiveness of the SME sector toward the India for their business growth. So these are the different activities what we are doing. Trade promotional programs, events, interaction with the bank, MNCs, international conferences, webinars. So during the pandemic, we did more than 700 webinars in the 2 years span of time. So this was a very good sessions, brainstorming sessions to the MSME sectors. Then strategic alliances with the world sector, marketing, branding, promotion, awareness about the government incentives, policies.
You mentioned trade platform.
Yeah,
So can be example of the trade platform?
definitely we will give it to some example. So let's go with this flow and then we will discuss on it.
So will there be a question answer session?
Yeah, definitely. So these are the support services domestic businesses के लिए जो हम लोग कर रहे हैं. या ये support services के लिए आप कभी भी चैम्बर के साथ में जुड़ सकते हो. These are some international activities what we are doing, business collaborations. These are some initiatives of chamber wherein we try to connect with the SMEs to provide them the platform for the interaction, vice versa. These are the international trade divisions where we invite some international expertise to the platform to give them the knowledge what is happening into the bilateral trade activities and how these activities could helpful to the SME sector. So these are the different advantages what we have given it to you. So become a member with the chamber. You will get the majority information, real-time information, what are the happening on the ground. So I will not take much of your time. We will go ahead with the flow. So once again, thank you very much to all of you to become part of this August gathering. मैं आप सभी वसई का लोगों का शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहूँगा. And आगे बढ़ते हुए I'll invite Mr. Vikram Kulkarni, who is a director tax Delight Huskins and Sons LLP. He is going to talk about the indirect tax planning, duty benefits scheme under the customs and audit preparedness under GST. So if you have any questions to him, आप ये उनका presentation खत्म हो जाएगा बाद you can ask him the questions and over to you, Mr. Rudra. Thank you.
So first of all, let me express my gratitude to Mr. Salonke and Mr. Kulkarni for and SME Chambers for giving us this opportunity to address this audience. I have a very special affinity towards VASAI. You would wonder why. Yes, I do. So before joining Deloitte in the indirect tax function, I was working in Central Excise and Customs Department, and I happened to be posted in this area. So I don't know if anyone of you has come across me, but till 2016 I was in the department, and I interacted with a lot of people in and around. So I have a थोड़ी नजदीकियां हैं वसई के साथ में. And when I got this or heard about this opportunity, I jumped over it and I thought I must address you all and share some knowledge with you, which probably will be helpful in your businesses. To start with, I mean, we all know that today taxes and particularly indirect taxes are a big concern for everybody. I'm sure you agree with me on that. Be it customs, be it GST, we all are facing a lot of challenges every day. When you talk about customs, there is faceless customs, right? And then there is different type of audits which are going on in customs, OSPC as they call it. When you talk about GST, well, we all know it's not a secret. Every now and then we are facing challenges, be it for getting a refund process, or if there is some notice coming across from the department asking for GSTR 2A3B mismatches and whatnot. So I thought there are certain issues now that GST is already growing and it's almost 5 years we are into GST. The department has started audits. And during the audits, whatever issues we are coming across or what are being pointed by the department, I thought I must share with you all, because usually MSMEs do not get that opportunity till the time some officer comes in and actually points out that issue before you. So just trying to give you a highlight on that. So this was just a brief about my presentation. So I'll be discussing basically a couple of good schemes under customs. So those of you who are importing raw materials or capital goods, it will be very interesting for you to know there are certain schemes available which probably are not so much publicized. There is one such scheme which is very interesting, Manufacturing and Other Operations and Warehouse Regulations 2019. So essentially what it means is, this facility basically means that your existing factory, you convert it into a bonded warehouse under customs. Having done that, what benefits do you get? When you import any raw material or any capital goods, you file a bill of entry and you pay the customs duty, basic customs duty, IGST, cesses, right? That's how it happens. You use it in the manufacture, you re-export it, if your finished goods are being exported, you export it, but that BCD is your cost. IGST का तो आपको क्रेडिट मिल जाता है, BCD आपका कॉस्ट हो जाता है, और इसके अलावा जो आप ड्यूटी सरकार को पे करते हैं वो आपका कैपिटल ब्लॉक हो जाता है. Under this scheme, if your factory is a bonded warehouse, effectively when you import or file a bill of entry at the time of import, you don't pay any duty whatsoever. आप बिना ड्यूटी पे किए हुए अपने रॉ मटेरियल कैपिटल गुड्स को अपनी फैक्ट्री में ले आते हैं, you manufacture the goods and you export it. If you export it, you don't need to pay any customs duty payable on those customs for import of goods. In case you are not exporting it, you are clearing it into the domestic market, no issues. You pay the customs duty payable at the time of import, at the time of clearing those goods into the domestic market. आप अगर 100 kg रॉ मटेरियल लाए, 3 महीने बाद आपने जो फिनिश गुड्स निकाले उसमें से आपने 20 kg यूज किया और लोकल मार्केट में निकाल दिया, आप उस 20 kg के ऊपर आज 3 महीने बाद ड्यूटी पे करिए. No interest is payable, nothing else is payable. Effectively means more working capital in your hand. Effectively, it also means that if you are re-exporting your finished goods, you save your BCD, the basic customs duty. Now, ये स्कीम बहुत ज़्यादा लोगों को पता नहीं है. Government in its endeavor of Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat scheme is trying to make this more popular. कि आप आइए, और ये किसी के लिए भी available है. Any manufacturer, there is no compulsion for exporting or anything. आप 100% import करके 100% domestic market में निकालिए, no issues. The idea is to empower our manufacturing entities to have more competitive edge over others. So you can think about it if you are into this kind of thing, because usually this was earlier applicable or available only to the EOUs, export-oriented units. Today it has been made available to everybody. Most of the big companies are going for it. Those who are going for expansion. Imagine करिए, आप capital goods import कर रहे हैं. Capital goods आप जब import करेंगे, inbound manufacturing जिसको बोलते हैं उसमें, you don't need to pay any customs duty on that. You will install those machinery in your factory. You use it for 15 years, 20 years. You have that money in your hand. You don't need to pay any customs duty. Though there are certain compliances involved here, but the benefits are huge. Moving on to the next one. This is about free trade agreements. Is anybody aware about the free trade agreements here? Or preferential trade agreements? Okay. Again, India has entered into preferential trade agreements or free trade agreements with various countries in order to have a bilateral trade and to benefit, so that हमारी local manufacturing entities जो हैं उनको benefit मिले. So you can see that ASEAN के members हैं, या SAARC countries हैं, या जापान, कोरिया, इनफैक्ट रिसेंटली ऑस्ट्रेलिया और यूएई के साथ में भी हमने प्रेफरेंशियल ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट किया है। इस एग्रीमेंट का मतलब क्या है? इसका मतलब ये है कि इफ यू आर इंपोर्टिंग एनी रॉ मटेरियल और एनीथिंग फॉर दैट मैटर फ्रॉम एनी ऑफ दीज मेंबर कंट्रीज, you can avail the benefit of concessional rate of duty, customs duty while importing from these countries. Means आप नॉर्मल अगर इंपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, अगर उसके ऊपर लेट अस से 18% ड्यूटी लग रहा है, by virtue of these free trade agreements, the duty may reduce to nil in certain cases, or 2% or 3%, depending on what is the product and which is the country which you are importing from. So this is again, as I said, many people are not aware. आप import करते होंगे इंडोनेशिया से, मलेशिया से, सिंगापुर से, but आपको पता नहीं है कि इनके साथ हमारा एग्रीमेंट है. Why not take the benefit or advantage of this concession scheme? And gradually this is going to probably जो government का endeavor है, वो इस चीज को और बढ़ावा देने वाले हैं with all other countries जहाँ से usually हम लोग import करते हैं, so that our manufacturers, indigenous manufacturers, are at advantage. So that we save a lot on the duty, because duty component is something which hits us very badly. So वैसे तो बहुत सारी स्कीम्स हैं कस्टम्स के अंदर. मैं चाह रहा था कि आप लोगों को इन दो स्कीम्स के बारे में आगाह कराऊं कि you can think over and maybe utilize these facilities because these are available for everybody and government is promoting these. Now as I said earlier on that GST अभी 5 साल का हो गया है और डिपार्टमेंट भी काफी एक्टिव हो गया है. धीरे धीरे अगर आपने फेस नहीं किया है तो शायद आगे करना पड़े. डिपार्टमेंट has started audits on a very vigorous scale. Since this is a very new law, there are very gray areas जहाँ पे कि interpretation जो है वो काफी involve होता है. I mean the law says something, we interpret in a way, department interprets in another way. So this may lead to litigations. Normal course में आप देखते होंगे, आपको नोटिस आते होंगे कि आपका 2A 3B मिसमैच हो रहा है इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट का, या फिर आपका कहीं से इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न के अंदर दिख रहा है कि you have declared a higher income and whereas in your GST return you are showing as a something lesser. So these are very common things which are happening and which we are facing. We wanted to highlight from our experience certain issues which usually you may not have foreseen. जो usually डिपार्टमेंट आकर के जब रेस करता है तो हमें एकदम सरप्राइज सामने आता है कि ये क्या हो गया, ये तो हमने कभी सोचा भी नहीं था. वेरी कॉमन थिंग, एक बहुत इशू चल रहा है आजकल, इनपुट सर्विस डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर वर्सेस क्रॉस चार्ज. नाउ यू मे हैव presence in multiple states or union territories apart from Maharashtra. Now, अगर आपके multiple registrations हैं, तो एक there is a concept under GST of a distinct person, wherein if you are providing any services or supplying anything to your own office situated in another state, you are required to cross charge. आप उसको एक invoice raise करते हैं because that is a distinct entity. Because GST as a law is basically the benefit goes to the receiving state, उस municipal से ले. So what people usually do is कि कुछ भी common services या common इस तरह का आता है expenses, हम उसको proportionately cross charge कर देते हैं across to all our offices. Now what has happened here is there is a concept of input service distributor. Input service distributor मतलब कौन? आपका जो HO है, उस HO में बहुत सारी सर्विसेज आप थर्ड पार्टी से लेते हैं, लॉयर्स, ऑडिटर्स, एडवर्टाइजमेंट एक्सपेंसेस, सो मेनी अदर एक्सपेंसेस. आप क्या करते हैं, उसका क्रेडिट ले लेते हैं, इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट, और उसको प्रोपोर्शनेटली क्रॉस चार्ज कर देते हैं अपनी अदर एंटिटीज को. ये नहीं होना चाहिए. एज पर द डिपार्टमेंट एंड एज पर द लॉ, you have to distribute this credit. You cannot cross charge it. You cannot raise your invoice. For that, you are required to get registered as an input service distributor and then distribute it proportionately to all the entities. हुआ यह है कि आज की डेट में, since many people are not aware, I am sure that many of you may not have prepared yourself for this. कि ऐसा भी हो सकता है. The department is saying that आपने गलत किया है, इसको reverse करें. So it's a legitimate credit. The way, the mechanism by which you decided to pass it on to your group entities is wrong, and therefore you will end up reversing that and facing that back. So this is one issue we wanted to highlight: input service distributor versus cross charge. You will need to go back and relook at things whether you are doing it correctly. If not, better get it corrected now. It's not late. Similarly, credit notes. जीएसटी के अंदर ये बोला गया कि अगर आपने इनवॉइस रेज कर दी, अगर हमको किसी कारण से उसको कैंसिल करना है, तो वी यूजुअली डोंट कैंसिल इट. व्हाट वी डू इज वी इशू अ क्रेडिट नोट और एक फ्रेश इनवॉइस इशू करते हैं. दिस इज नॉर्मल प्रैक्टिस व्हिच इज फॉलोड. द डिपार्टमेंट कम्स एंड सेज कि बॉस ये गलत कर रहे हो, यू कैन नॉट रेज अ क्रेडिट नोट फॉर द एंटायर इनवॉइस अनलेस द एंटायर कंसाइनमेंट हैज बीन रिजेक्टेड एंड कम बैक टू यू. In case of services, so you cannot raise only for the 100% value because service तो आपने deliver कर दी है. अगर deficient है, तो it can be deficient by 10%, 20%, 50%. It cannot be 100%. So if you have raised a 100% credit note and you cannot justify it, and you have raised an invoice, you will end up facing the interest component during that period. That is what they are demanding. In fact, there is another issue which is called state-wise trial balance. Particularly services के साथ में बहुत challenge आ रहा है. हर state के अंदर different authorities audit करती हैं, and everybody wants a trial balance. कौन बनाता है trial balance state-wise? Everybody prepares a trial balance on the entity-wise, right? Company के हिसाब से बनाते हैं. But these are challenges. So there are solutions to it again. You have to approach the officers how to overcome this difficulty by giving them maybe sales register, the purchase ledgers, things like that. So these are practical difficulties which I am highlighting, which are coming across during the course of audit. Okay. Another issue which is coming up is ITC await prior to October 19. Now October 19 में एक provision आया था. GST के अंदर जब आप input tax credit लेते हैं, तो you are supposed to take the credit which is matching with your to be return. अक्टूबर में आया कि आपका जो मैचिंग हो रहा है और उसके अलावा जो बचा हुआ है, still you can take 20% over and above that of the matching credit. Department has come back and said कि ये 20% मैचिंग का कंसेप्ट अक्टूबर से आया है, उसके पहले ये नहीं था, आपको 100% मैचिंग वाला ही लेना था. इसलिए जो आपने बिना मैचिंग वाला क्रेडिट पहले लिया है उसको रिवर्स करिए. And that is what is happening, because even the law somewhere says that the tax should have been paid by the supplier of services or goods or whosoever it is. Many other such issues are there, like आप अगर नोटिस में रिकवर कर रहे हैं या आप अपने डायरेक्टर्स को कोई ऐसी फी पे कर रहे हैं जो कि रेम्यूनरेशन से अलग है, या फिर कोई ऐसे चार्जेस है जिसके ऊपर आपने जीएसटी नहीं पे किया है, मिस आउट हो गया, कि मिसलिनियस इनकम के अंदर दिख रहा है. इस तरह के इश्यूज आर बीइंग पिक्ड अप बाय द डिपार्टमेंट. So the whole idea of narrating this is that आप लोग अपनी books का, I'm sure you must be having your consultants, you must be having your accountants who do this, compliances, etc. for you. You must have an independent third-party check of your books. As a health check बोल लीजिए या as a precautionary measure बोल लीजिए. एक बार रीलुक कर लीजिए इन 5 साल के अंदर आपने क्या टैक्स पोजीशंस ली हुई हैं, आपने कहीं इस तरह के कोई मिस्टेक्स तो अपने इश्यूज तो नहीं आ रहे हैं. अगर आ रहे हैं तो उसको अभी करेक्ट कर लीजिए, क्योंकि कल को अगर डिपार्टमेंट आके ऑडिट करेगा या इंस्पेक्शन करेगा या पॉइंट आउट करेगा, you will end up paying not only interest but penalties and lot of trouble. So it's prudent on our part कि before anybody comes and points this out, हम ही लोग एक बार देख लो, so that you are at least prepared for what is going to come. There are no surprises. If at all there are any gray areas, you can take a position on that. So this is something which I wanted to highlight today. I'll take a pause here. If anyone has got any questions or any doubts on GST or customs, please feel free.
Sir, can you explain again state-wise trial balance?
Yes. So, are you into services or manufacturing?
Services.
You are into services.
My company is a food consultancy company, but I am interested in knowing more about MSME, and this state-wise trial balance I found it very difficult.
Okay, yeah. So that's what is happening. Have you faced any audits?
Not yet. I am new in the company.
Okay. So usually what happens is when an audit happens, I'm talking about the departmental audit. The department usually gives you a bucket list of requirements. Balance sheet दीजिए, आपका return का copies दीजिए, आपका ledgers दीजिए. Everything comes into that. One of the item in that is a trial balance. Now they are only concerned with their state, your entity within their state. हम लोग बैलेंस शीट या ट्रायल बैलेंस किस लेवल पे बनाते हैं? हम लोग यूजुअली अपना कंपनी के लेवल पे बनाते हैं, राइट? एंटिटी के लेवल पे बनाते हैं. हम स्टेट का नहीं बनाते हैं ट्रायल बैलेंस. बट दे वांट इट, दे इंसिस्ट फॉर इट. अब हम कहां से देंगे? अगर आप अपने टोटल ट्रायल बैलेंस को ब्रेक करने जाओगे तो यू विल एंड अप गिविंग समथिंग व्हिच यू प्रोबब्ली नेवर इंटेंडेड. So many of the officers, again this is again a very relative issue. तो हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं कि ठीक है, हम आपको हमारा परचेज रजिस्टर देते हैं, हमारा सेल्स रजिस्टर देते हैं. You go through that for the state, that is okay. We'll give you that breakup, and if you want anything more in that, we'll give you explanation. But you ask us to give us a trial balance, that is not possible. Some people do that. Some people prepare the trial balances and give it to them. But probably it may not be practical and feasible to prepare a state-wise trial balance and give it to them. So this is a difficulty and a practical one which wanted to highlight. Anything else?
Sir, in manufacturing unit, like total investment जो होता है 50% लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग में इन्वेस्टमेंट होता है, 30% के आसपास मशीनरी में होता है और 20% वर्किंग कैपिटल में होता है. तो लैंड बिल्डिंग और मशीनरी में कैपिटल गुड्स में जो जीएसटी लगता है वो रिबेट मिलता है. लेकिन जो यूनिट खरीदता है उसमें जो जीएसटी लगाता है वो जो है यूनिट में जो सेल करता है प्रोडक्शन के बाद उसको रिबेट जीएसटी का नहीं ले सकता.
मैं अभी भी नहीं समझा आप किस बात की बात कर रहे हैं.
मशीनरी जो है वो कैपिटल गुड्स है,
उसका आपको क्रेडिट मिल जाता है जीएसटी का.
लेकिन जो यूनिट खरीदते हैं
मतलब तो बिल्डिंग है.
हाँ
ओके.
उसका जो गाला खरीदते हैं उसमें जो जीएसटी लगता है वो जीएसटी 12% है, वो बहुत बड़ा अमाउंट है. वो रिबेट क्यों नहीं ले पाते?
सो दैट इज
दोनों कैपिटल
इनकम टैक्स क्रेडिट की बात कर रहे हैं. हाँ. सो दैट इज अ रेस्ट्रिक्टेड क्रेडिट. तो अगर आप जीएसटी एक्ट देखोगे, सीजीएसटी एक्ट देखोगे तो उसके अंदर इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट में देयर आर सर्टेन कैटेगरीज जिसका आपको इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट रेस्ट्रिक्टेड आपको नहीं मिल सकता. दिस इज वन ऑफ दोस. सिमिलरली मोटर व्हीकल्स है. आप अनलेस यू आर इनटू दैट सेम बिजनेस यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू अवेल द क्रेडिट.
बट दिस मशीनरी इज फॉर द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ
मशीनरी का मिलेगा सर,
ये
बिल्डिंग का नहीं मिलेगा.
बिल्डिंग के अंदर फैक्ट्री चलने वाला है सर.
नहीं, अब जैसे देखो दो चीजें हैं. मशीनरी इज समथिंग व्हिच यू हैव ब्रॉट, यू हैव इंस्टॉल्ड, उसका जो इनपुट टैक्स रेट है वो मिलेगा. लेकिन आपने जो गाला खरीदा, ओके, आपने गाला किसी बिल्डर से खरीदा, वो बिल्डर ने आपसे जीएसटी लिया होगा, उस गाले का जीएसटी आपको नहीं. दैट इज बिकॉज इट इज अ रेस्ट्रिक्टेड.
आप सजेस्ट आप बिकॉज ऑफ टेलर आप कुछ पॉलिसी बनाइए इस पे और पॉलिसी बना के आप सबमिट कीजिए तो सब लोग को बेनिफिट इसका मिलेगा.
ये सर इनफैक्ट पहले भी था. इनफैक्ट सर्विस टैक्स और सेंट्रल एक्साइज रिजीम के अंदर भी ये चीज थी और शायद सरकार ने काफी कुछ सोच करके ये रखा होगा कि ये अलाउ नहीं करना है.
12% इज टू मच.
वेरी
टोटल इन्वेस्टमेंट का 50% जो है वो आज की तारीख में लैंड बिल्डिंग में जाता है. उसका 12% मतलब ऑलमोस्ट 6% होता है जो जिसका कुछ फायदा इनको नहीं मिलता जो जीएसटी में इनको ले सकते हैं.
Absolutely, and I fully agree. ये one time expense है, लेकिन unfortunately the law says otherwise. Maybe
हम सब एसएमई के बिहाफ पे कोई पॉलिसी बना के सबमिट कीजिए आप लोग.
बिल्कुल देखा जा सकता है इसमें. आप बाकायदा स्टडी की जा सकती है. थैंक यू सर. सॉरी, ये अब तो उसी में जीएसटी नहीं है.
Hello sir. For example, you said if you are importing any machineries, you have to don't have to buy any duties. So I would appreciate if you could explain further way, for the two ways. Like if I am not going to export anything, and if I am going to export, like we are into export, so I am going to export some goods, finished goods to the other countries. And if I am not going to export anything to the other countries, So how we can benefit, like how we can save that duties, import duties, which is coming on machineries, not any raw material or anything, for the machineries from my capital goods. So how we can save that?
That's what I'm saying. So मैंने आपको जो मूवर का स्कीम बताया था मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एंड अदर ऑपरेशंस वाला, उसमें आपकी एग्जिस्टिंग फैक्ट्री प्रेमाइसेस को आप एज अ बॉन्डेड प्रेमाइसेस रजिस्टर कर लेते हैं अंडर कस्टम्स. ओके, हैविंग डन दैट, आप जो कुछ भी इंपोर्ट करेंगे कैपिटल गुड्स, लेट अस से इन योर केस कैपिटल गुड्स मशीनरी आप लेते हैं, उस पे आप कोई कस्टम्स ड्यूटी पे नहीं करेंगे उस समय. ओके, आप लाएंगे, इंस्टॉल करेंगे और आपको यूज करना है, यूज करिए. उसमें से जो आप गुड्स बनाएंगे, अगर आप लोकली प्रोक्योर करके बेच रहे हैं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है उसमें. यू कीप ऑन डूइंग दैट. आप जब तक बॉन्डेड वेयरहाउस रहेंगे तब तक आपको उन कैपिटल गुड्स के ऊपर कस्टम्स ड्यूटी पे करने का जरूरत नहीं. जिस दिन आप इन गुड्स को बाहर डिस्पोज करेंगे, डीपीए में निकालेंगे, या फिर अपना बॉन्डेड वेयरहाउस फैसिलिटी आप सरेंडर कर देंगे, उस समय आपको वो ड्यूटी पे करनी पड़ेगी जो ओरिजिनल टाइम पे आपको पे करना था. एंड दिस इज विदाउट एनी इंटरेस्ट. So let us say you imported a machinery today and you want to dispose it off after 15 years from today. 15 साल के बाद आप वही ड्यूटी पे करेंगे जो आज पेबल थी. No interest.
And if I am not going to like register in the bonded way, so as you said, so is there any other way?
So people are no, not for the example which you gave.
Then if I am not selling my goods to the local market, if I am exporting.
If you are exporting, then all the more makes it more sense for you to go for this. So आप एक्सपोर्ट ही कर रहे हैं, तो आप कैपिटल गुड्स लाइए विदाउट ड्यूटी पेमेंट. और आपको वैसे नॉर्मली ईपीसीजी लेते हैं लोग, एक्सपोर्ट प्रमोशन कैपिटल गुड्स स्कीम लेते हैं, लेकिन उसमें क्या आता है, यू हैव टू एक्सपोर्ट एक्स नंबर एक्स टाइम्स ऑफ योर द वैल्यू ऑफ द गुड्स व्हिच यू हैव एक्सपोर्टेड. हियर देयर इज नो सच कंडीशन. You don't have to go to DGFT for any permission. You don't have to fulfill any export obligation. You don't have to get some foreign exchange earnings. Absolutely nothing. This comes rider free. So basically this is a substitute for advance authorization and EPCG in a simpler way.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
100% EPA? No?
100%. Absolutely. So this is more of a Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative, right?
Not even IGST also, no?
Not even IGST. All duties of customs are deferred.
सर मैं लॉजिस्टिक्स में हूँ. सर मेरा क्लाइंट इंपोर्ट्स करता है और ही मूव इट कंपनी टू एसएमटीपी आर्शिया फॉर द वेयरहाउस इंपोर्टेड वेयरहाउस. तो अभी एक केस ऐसा हुआ था जहाँ पे कस्टमर का मटेरियल तो आर्शिया में जा रहा था, लेकिन नावाशा देयर आर पीपल ऑफिसर आस्किंग फॉर समथिंग, व्हाई यू आर कमिंग इट टू आर्शिया, व्हाई यू आर नॉट क्लियरिंग इन नावाशा. जो शिपमेंट तुम नावाशा में क्लियर कर सकते हो, वो ड्यूटी नावाशा में कर सकते हो, तुम एसएमटी में क्यों लेके जाते हो. सो अगेन एक्सप्लेनेशंस और जो प्रोसीजर करना पड़ता है दिस हेक्टिक.
वो तो प्राइवेट बॉन्डेड वेयरहाउस है ना.
हां,
See, RCA is a private bonded warehouse. So that is your right, na? You can do that.
Yes, we can do that, but the office about the way are treating us, ultimately the concern get annoyed कि बाबा ये क्यों ऐसा कर रहे हैं. It's our right to move it anywhere in bonded warehouse 100% you export. But the harassment what we get and the time delay and the detention start for the containers, it's a time consuming process. And as a logistic person, the people also the concern is say that we are doing the mistakes.
But these types of, I'll tell you something. जो mover वाली scheme है, this scheme is being popularized from the CBIC. वहाँ से लोग आकर के chief commissioners across the country are conducting seminars to sanitize trade. कि boss ये आओ ये लो ये scheme. So if any lower level officers harass you, a simple tweet would solve the problems. It should not happen.
So as you said of that countries from where you can import, maybe it can come to 2 to 3% or absolutely free. So is it for raw material, and if the raw material is imported from that countries and sold in a domestic this thing, so is that happening or not?
Yes. So this is as I said, these preferential trade agreements or free trade agreements are entered with those countries with a bilateral benefit. कि हमारे यहाँ से आपके यहाँ जाएगा तो वो लोग बेनिफिट देंगे, उनके यहाँ से हमारा आएगा तो हम देंगे. There are certain conditions attached to it कि आपको अपने कुछ फुलफिल करनी पड़ती हैं, सर्टिफिकेट ऑफ ओरिजिन लाना पड़ता है. नहीं तो फॉर एग्जांपल सिंगापुर है, सिंगापुर से अगर आप ला रहे हैं, आप चाइना से सिंगापुर ले जाएंगे, वहाँ से यहाँ ले आएंगे, that is not allowed.
So even for that we have to register as a bonded
No, that's a separate.
Sir, we'll move ahead with the
Sure,
presentation.
sure. Thank you so much. I'm sure, I'm sorry if I've taken some more time, but thanks a lot, all of you, and please reach out to me.
Friends, we have around 7 to 8 speakers, so I request all the speakers to adhere with the time. We have a lot of time to interactions also. We will take 2 to 3 main questions, and then rest of the things we will discuss in person with the speakers. They are here with us throughout the session. So, moving to the next, I'll invite Mr. Prakash Patel, Managing Director, Bhumi World Industrial Park. So, Bhumi World is into a plug and play ready-made industrial premises. Yesterday only they have started one new phase of the Bhumi World Industrial Park. So, I'll request Mr. Prakash Patel to give us some more information about it and how it is going to be beneficial to the SME sector. Over to you, Prakash Patel.
Thank you, Messi. Good evening, all. बहुत टाइम से गुड इवनिंग थोड़ा अच्छा एनर्जी आ गया बहुत टाइम से हम लोग सब लोग सुन रहे हैं प्लग इन प्ले इंडस्ट्रियल पार्क क्या है प्लग इन प्ले इंडस्ट्रियल पार्क क्या है तो बहुत सालों से जो है मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट में बहुत इनके पास बहुत इनोवेटिव आइडिया होता है और एक ऑर्डर होता है वो छोटी सी जगह में होता है उसको बड़ी जगह में जाना होता है लेकिन वो गवर्नमेंट के पास लैंड कभी लेगा प्लान पास कभी करेगा कंस्ट्रक्शन कभी करेगा प्रोडक्शन में आएगा तब तो उसका जो प्रोडक्ट लाइफ साइकिल है वही खत्म हो जाता है वो तरीके से बहुत जन का स्ट्रगल है कि यूनिट के अंदर जो है वो कैसे रहेगा वसई विरार में तो बहुत सारे यूनिट यहाँ पर है जो प्लास्टिक प्रिंटिंग इंजीनियरिंग यूटेंसिल मार्केट वाले बहुत यहाँ पर है ऑलरेडी तो एक्सपेंशन के लिए जो है बहुत टाइम से मैं खुद भी आपके जैसा एक मैन्युफैक्चरर था मेरा ग्लास का बिजनेस था 2007 तक ग्लास का बिजनेस चलाया थाना में था मैं एक्सपेंशन के लिए लैंड ढूंढ रहा था लैंड नहीं मिल रहा तो बहुत सारे हर्डल्स थे तो भिवंडी गया वहाँ पर हमने फैक्ट्री का शुरू किया करते करते 3-4 साल लग गए उसको शुरू करने को तब तक जो वॉश बेसिन मैं ग्लास का वॉश बेसिन बना था वो प्रोडक्ट ही खत्म हो गया फिर सोचा ऐसा मेरे से तो बहुत जन रहेंगे जो स्ट्रगल करते रहेंगे जिसको रेडीमेड फैक्ट्री चाहिए जिसके अंदर पावर लाइसेंस पानी इलेक्ट्रिसिटी लेबर सब चीज़ अवेलेबल हो और वो रेडीमेड उसके बाद कोई इनोवेटिव आइडिया हो ऑर्डर हो और मशीनरी जो है वो आज बहुत जन एग्जीबिशन में जाते हैं मशीनरी देखते हैं कि ये प्रोडक्शन हमको लाना चाहिए लास्ट में एक ख्याल आता है अपने पास जगह कहाँ है और वो जगह की वजह से कंस्ट्रक्शन को एक्सपांड नहीं कर पाते वो तरीके से हमने एक छोटा सा एक्सपेरिमेंट किया और रेडीमेड प्लग इन प्ले यूनिट बनाना शुरू किया 2009 में शुरू किया आज हमारे यहाँ पर टोटल 1800 मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट है जो ऑलमोस्ट 22 कैटेगरी के प्रोडक्शन यूनिट्स है यहाँ पर प्रिंटिंग प्लास्टिक इंजीनियरिंग रेडीमेड गारमेंट फूड फार्मा गोल्ड ज्वेलरी सिल्वर ज्वेलरी फर्नीचर फर्निशिंग ऑटोमोबाइल ऑलमोस्ट ऑल कैटेगरी ऑफ प्रोडक्ट्स है वहाँ पर ऐसा एक इकोसिस्टम बन गया है कि इंडस्ट्रियल पार्क के अंदर यूनिट होना क्यों जरूरी है कि हर प्रोडक्ट जो है ना ऐसे भी कंप्लीट खुद नहीं करता है जैसे अभी प्रिंटिंग इंडस्ट्री है तो प्रिंटिंग इंडस्ट्री के अंदर एक पेपर का बिजनेस एक जन करता है प्लेट एक जन करता है उसके बाद सीटीपी एक जन करता है उसके बाद एक जन ऑफसेट करता है फिर एक बाइंडर है एक जो है लेमिनेट करता है फिर उसका प्रोडक्ट कंप्लीट होता है जैसे रेडीमेड गारमेंट है उसके अंदर एक जन जो है वो बटन बनाता है एक जन धागा बनाता है एक जन खाली जो है उसको स्टिचिंग करता है एक जन उसका पैड बनाता है एक जन उसका लेबल बनाता है एक जन उसका पूरा पैकेज सिस्टम बनाता है वैसे रेडीमेड गारमेंट में भी सब सेक्टर के अंदर एसएमई जो है वो सप्लाई चेन के अंदर का एक कोई पार्ट है जो वो प्रोडक्ट को कंप्लीट करता है इस तरीके से जो आजू बाजू में इंडस्ट्री इकोसिस्टम बनता है जिससे उसका प्रोडक्ट जो है वो जल्दी बनता है और डिलीवरी जल्दी दे सकता है और अभी का जमाना ऐसा है कि आप सर्विस और डिलीवरी जितना जल्दी दे सको वो ऑर्डर आपके पास ही आने वाला है पूरे वर्ल्ड में रेडीमेड गारमेंट के अंदर जो है हम लोग बहुत पीछे है हमारा ऑलमोस्ट 120 और 150 डेज होता है धागे से लेके शर्ट बनने तक का जो हम धीरे धीरे करके हम लोग अभी 190 डेज तक आए हैं और बाकी सब कंट्रीज है वो अभी भी 35-40 डेज में प्रोडक्ट कंप्लीट करके देते हैं क्योंकि उनका इकोसिस्टम बना हुआ है और इंडिया के अंदर जो है वो ये इकोसिस्टम जो है वो आना बहुत ज़रूरी है और आपके जैसे एसएमई जो है वो पूरी तरीके से इस इकोसिस्टम को समझ गए और वो इकोसिस्टम के अंदर लेके आना चाहते हैं तो इंडिया के अंदर अभी जो है लास्ट पेंडेमिक में आपने देखा कि मास्क जो है वो हम लोग इंपोर्ट करते थे हम लोग के यहाँ पर 40 मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट रेडी था जो लॉकडाउन में हमने रेडी करके रखा था, वो टाइम पे हम लोग के पास बहुत मैन्युफैक्चरिंग मास वाला है कि हमको जगह दिख चाहिए, हमको मास मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करना है। अब मानो कि नहीं 3 से 4 महीने में उन्होंने सबने मिलके इंडिया का कंजम्पशन को कम्प्लीट किया और एक्सपोर्ट करना शुरू कर दिया था। ये हुआ क्योंकि वो प्लगिंग का यूनिट रेडी था। अभी कोरोना के टाइम पे कोई जगह ढूंढने जाएगा, प्लांट पास करेगा, कंस्ट्रक्शन करेगा, फैक्ट्री शुरू करेगा मास की, तब तक तो कोरोना 2 साल में चला गया। तो ये प्लग इन प्ले का बहुत महत्व है और कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव है। जनरली एक इकोसिस्टम में लेने से उसको कॉस्ट बहुत कम पड़ता है। तो वो बेस पे हम लोग इंडस्ट्रियल पार्क बनाते हैं। हम लोग इंडस्ट्रियल पार्क जो है वो भिवंडी में बनाते हैं। हम अभी गवर्नमेंट के साथ मिलकर एक्सपांड कर रहे हैं। हम गोवा में बना रहे हैं, हैदराबाद बना रहे हैं, आंध्र प्रदेश में बना रहे हैं। गवर्नमेंट के साथ मिलकर हमारा एक ही एम है कि हम सस्ते से सस्ता इंडस्ट्रियल यूनिट कैसे दे सके, जिसकी वजह से उसका प्रोडक्शन कैपेसिटी बढ़ सके और उसका प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट कम हो सके। आज टोटल इन्वेस्टमेंट जो इंडस्ट्री का होता है उसका 50% तो लैंड बिल्डिंग में चले जाता है और 30% मशीनरी में जाता है और 20% वर्किंग कैपिटल में जाता है। वो जो 50% लैंड बिल्डिंग में जाता है ना, उसका हमारा है कि उसको 14-15% तक लेके आए, तभी उसका एंड ऑफ द डे वो जो भी कॉस्ट लग रहा है वो तो प्रोडक्ट के ऊपर ही चढ़ने वाला है। वो 50% का 15% हो जाएगा, प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट कम होगा, पर यूनिट कॉस्ट कम होगा। इसकी वजह से हम पूरे मार्केट में चाइना से या कोई भी कंट्री से कम्पीट कर पाएंगे। और ये तरीके से हमने पूरा एक सोच और एक पूरा जितने भी इनिशिएटिव है गवर्नमेंट के, मेक इन इंडिया, स्किल इंडिया, डिजिटल इंडिया, स्टार्टअप इंडिया, ये सबको हमने इम्प्लीमेंट किया है। कुछ मैं आपको नाम बताना चाहता हूँ, जैसे सोल स्टोर आपने सुना रहेगा जो रेडीमेड गारमेंट में ई कॉमर्स में, उन्होंने हमारे यहाँ से 3000 स्क्वायर फीट से शुरू किया था। लास्ट 4 साल से पहला साल उसका मेरे ख्याल 1 लाख करोड़ रुपये का टर्नओवर होगा। 4 साल में अभी वो 1.5 लाख स्क्वायर फीट यूज कर रहा है और वो 100 करोड़ रुपीज का टर्नओवर कर रहा है, ओनली ई कॉमर्स में सेल कर रहा है। उसके बाद 555 बोनस प्लेइंग कार्ड है, वो हमारे यहाँ पर है। वो भी शुरुआत बहुत छोटे यूनिट में थे। अभी अपन को इतना पता नहीं इतना भी कंजम्पशन हो सकता है। 555 बोनस प्लेइंग कार्ड पर डे 6 लाख कैट बना रहा है, जो इंडिया में भी कंज्यूम करते हैं और वो लोग यहाँ से लास्ट वेगा एक्सपोर्ट भी करते हैं। वैसे बहुत सारी इंडस्ट्री जिसका ग्रोथ स्केल बहुत है, लेकिन वो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर वाइज उसको जगह की वजह से वो किधर न किधर रुक जाता है। और हम लोग का एम है कि हम पूरे इंडिया में 2000 और 2500 रुपया स्क्वायर फीट में रेडीमेड यूनिट विथ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, विथ लैंड, विथ बिल्डिंग, विथ रोड, एवरीथिंग हम बना के दे और उस बेस पे वो यूनिट जो लेके सस्टेन हो पाए, ग्रो कर पाए। इतने शॉर्ट में खत्म करता हूँ मैं। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू प्रकाश भाई। ऑन एन एवरेज जो टाइम है, आज अगर मैंने बोल दिया कि नहीं मुझे ये एस डिस्क्रिप्शन का वेयर हाउस चाहिए या कोई यूनिट चाहिए, तो आपका टाइम कितना है ऑन एन एवरेज?
बेसिकली जो है हम लोग ने ना एक स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्मूला बनाया है। तो बहुत सारी इंडस्ट्री जैसे प्रिंटिंग है, प्लास्टिक है, उनकी मशीनरी का प्रोटोटाइप लेके कौन सी मशीनरी का क्या साइज है उस बेस पे यूनिट्स बनाया हमने। 99% जो स्टैंडर्डाइज हमने जो बनाया उसमें सब मशीनरी, सब उसका लीन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, पूरा लेआउट, रॉ मटेरियल से लेके फिनिश गुड से लेके कैसे होगा वो ऑलमोस्ट हो जाता है। हमने लास्ट डिलीवरी जो है वो 90 डेज में कंप्लीट किया। तो हम लोग का स्ट्रक्चर शुरू करने से लेके आपको पोजीशन देने तक हम लोग 3 महीने में पोजीशन दे देते हैं अभी। तो ये जो है ये सब आप जब भी मशीन कोई बेसिकली मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट डालते हैं तो मशीन ऑर्डर होता है। जब तक मशीन आता है तब तक आपका जगह रेडी होता है।
चलो गुड, थैंक यू।
renting basis or
both
outlet purchase?
both you can get in rent also, you can get in outlet purchase also.
There is a plan for VASAI?
Soon in Diwali maybe we are coming on VASAI on this highway. I will not disclose it because we are on the verge of acquisition of the land. So when it will be completed, will be soon. You will get this soon from management. Everybody from here will get the information.
What are the different capital services apart from providing loan for starting a new?
So basically हम लोग खाली यूनिट नहीं देते। यूनिट के बाद जो है बहुत जन का प्रॉब्लम होता है कि 2000 स्क्वायर फीट से 10,000 स्क्वायर फीट में जगह लेते ना, तो उसका लेआउटिंग में प्रॉब्लम होता है कि मशीन कहाँ रखेगा, रॉ मटेरियल कहाँ रखेगा, वो 100% प्रोडक्शन एफिशिएंट यूनिट नहीं बना पाता है। पूरी जगह उसके पास है, मशीनरी है, लेकिन लीन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एडॉप्ट नहीं करता, इसके लिए वो 50-60% तक प्रोडक्शन निकालता है। वो भी हम पूरा उनको करके देते हैं, उनको फाइनेंस प्रोवाइड करके देते हैं। उनका जो प्रोडक्ट बनता है, बहुत सारे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के पास आज की तारीख में स्किल या टाइम नहीं है कि वो अपना प्रोडक्ट ई कॉमर्स में सेल कर पाए। तो हम लोग के पास पूरी टीम है जो आपका प्रोडक्ट आइडेंटिफाई करके उसको हमारे लोग आपके ऑफिस में बैठ के उसको पूरा ई कॉमर्स में करके 6 मंथ्स तक जो है हम आपके साथ में रहेंगे, ई कॉमर्स में पूरा सेट करके देंगे, सेल पूरा पहुंचा देंगे। उसके बाद जो है हम लोग आपको हैंड ओवर करके निकल जाएंगे। ये हुआ डिजिटल मार्केट का। उसके बाद जो है हम लोग आपको एक्सपोर्ट के लिए जो है अपने यहाँ पर एक जन है जो एक्सपोर्ट का जितने भी लोग का एक्सपोर्ट पोटेंशियल है प्रोडक्ट के अंदर, तो हम उसको एक्सपोर्ट करके देते हैं, मार्केट आइडेंटिफाई करके देते हैं। उसके बाद जो हम लोग हमारे यहाँ पर 2 कंपनी ऐसी है जो बीएसई में लिस्टिंग कराई है हमने, जो शुरुआत में बहुत छोटी थी, फाइनेंस देके उसको जगह देके प्रोडक्शन में जो प्रोडक्ट बनाते हैं उसको इनोवेटिव आइडिया देके, जितने भी कॉलेज से उनके साथ टाइप किया हुआ तो वो इनोवेटिव आइडियाज देते हैं मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को। बहुत सारे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग जो है ना अभी भी ट्रेडिशनल वे से चलते हैं, जो आज की तारीख में उसको कुछ इनोवेटिव आइडियाज चाहिए, लेकिन वो अपने में इतने बिजी, हर एसएमई जो है ना वो अपनी कंपनी का सीईओ, सीएफओ, प्रोडक्शन हेड, सेल्स हेड, वो सब एक ही है, खुद ही है। वो खुद ही जो है वो सब कुछ, सबका मास्टर जो है ना वो एक ही आदमी है, जिसके पास टाइम ही नहीं है एक्सपांशन के लिए और वैल्यू एडिशन अपने आप पर लेके आने के लिए। तो वो भी टीम है। वैसे हम लोगों ने यूनिट देने के बाद खाली यूनिट देते, ये सब सर्विसेज देते हैं जिसकी वजह से वो अपने आप में ग्रो कर पाए, और ग्रो कर पाए तो हमारे पास और जगह दे और ग्रो कर पाए।
थैंक यू भाई, थैंक यू वेरी मच। सो व्हाट आर योर एक्सपर्टीज? आप आपके एक्सपर्टीज पे फोकस कर लीजिए, एंड जो प्रोफेशनल वर्क है वो प्रोफेशनल्स को करने दीजिए, देन डेफिनेटली आई थिंक सो स्काई इज द लिमिट फॉर योर बिजनेस। फ्रेंड्स, यू नो for every business you need the finances. फाइनेंस के सिवाय इंडस्ट्री नहीं है, और इंडस्ट्री के सिवाय बैंक चलते नहीं है। सो आज यहाँ पे फाइनेंस में आपको हेल्प करने के लिए 2-3 बैंकर्स are here. इंडसइंड बैंक है, कोटक बैंक है, कैनरा बैंक is here. सो आज का एक प्रेजेंटेशन है कोटक महिंद्रा बैंक का, इंटरनेशनल बैंकिंग विद कोटक महिंद्रा बैंक। सो आई इनवाइट Bhavya Nehlani, Cluster Manager, Kotak Mahindra Bank, to give the presentation.
Hi, good evening, friends. Thank you, VASAI Chamber Association, for giving us this opportunity. So we are here, as we all know that SME segment is growing. We as a bank also want to grow along with you. And as we are seeing, consumption pattern is going up. So there is a lot of potential scope in SME segment. So we also want to grow along with you. As a bank, we are here to cater all your needs from liability to asset. So we will provide you all financial solution. We will provide you all financial solution, tailor-made solution from asset to liability for your long-term, short-term borrowing, for your trade, export, import solution. So I will call Bhavya. She will just take you through small presentation. Bhavya.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah. So we had a lot of discussions with regards to imports and exports, and we have a product and we are here to service that. So what's new with Kotak, what products with Kotak will get you through it. So we have a product called Global Trade Account for international payments and services. So what's new here is we have a flat pricing for your import-export transactions. Here is the grid wherein we are providing almost all the facilities at the flat pricing, SWIFT charges are nil. So this is a product feature which we have at par vis-a-vis the competition, and we are leading in terms of settling the inward remittances with the TAT. So this is what we bring to your table and give you an expansion with regards to your business.
business services and import and export. So, in November 2021, we have introduced FIN. FIN is basically for your needs. For your needs means it's a trade portal online. So many banks have introduced this. We have USPs amongst all that. You would be getting EDPMS and IDPMS screenshots here. So this would be a part of net banking, and you can upload your outward remittance, inward remittance online. So this is how the dashboard would look if my customer is using the net banking. The trade portal would be a part of net banking dashboard. You won't be having a different ID and password for it. So these are the features for the online trade portal. You can access 24/7. Suppose your admin have to save and close the transaction. He can access anytime and submit the transaction when it is supposed to be processed. That is 24/7 access he can get. Audit trail of transaction. If you want to know which transaction has been done last month or 14th, you can get this. Widget libraries means you can create your widget. Maker, checker, your outstanding reports, everything would be visible. Make repeat transactions. So you can save beneficiary. Okay? Suppose you're doing an LC issuance, for example. You can save the template, and next time if the party is same, you just need to change the amount. It's like save as beneficiary. Net banking. Report designers, advisors on click. So as we told that IDPMS, EDPMS report would be accessible, advisors would be there on click. Available from net banking, and the look and feel is, that is, interface is quite user friendly. So you would be also having maker and checker concept here. Suppose you want maker and checker rights, it would be available. So these are certain testimonials. We have got it from MNCs and MSMEs. Paperless. So one of the testimonials which we have is paperless, user-friendly, easy to operate, end-to-end digital solutions. So these are the testimonials we have where the customer has appreciated the services. Now, as once you have been entered, there is a banner outside that we are live with custom duty payment online. So you can go to an ICE gate and portal would be having NP panel list to pay your custom duty. So this is what new have brought with the portal. As you know, we are very simple and transparent, operative, seamless. So one of the platform we have in addition to trade portal is FX Live. You can book your rates online. We will be giving you an extract of our router system wherein you can book the rates online. So what are the features? As per the convenience, accessible for net banking, history, deal history and alerts would be there. So let me introduce now any questions with regards to trade. So are we excited if we associate with Kotak Mahindra Bank?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So this is what we are providing a seamless services, and we would be happy to associate with you in terms of trade. Okay? So working capital finance is the extended facility and services to ease out your lending facilities from Kotak. We have best of the interest rate and best of the tag, which is provided for both secured and unsecured finance. So we also give a product called as export finance, pre-shipment finance, buyer's credit at a very low rate of interest. This is what we bring to a table, and that is very within the expectations, and this is being actually appreciated by our customers. So we have basically an X factor. You have trade portal, FX Live, custom duty payment, and we also come with a product where in the one day we can issue a bank guarantee product, If the bank guarantee is less than 25 lakhs, we can issue that at the same day. So loan eligibility is basically your financials, KYCs, rate of interest we can explore. We have our working capital partners here, Mr. Bhavik Shah and Devangana. They can assist you with any other further details required in terms of lending facilities. We thank you to hear us, and we are looking forward to associate with you. Any questions with regards to quoted banking we can address? I hope our trade portal looks exciting. We have all the trails wherein maker, checker, save beneficiary tools are there, which current MSME audience very much needed, which is ease of doing business, digital innovations. Right? Anything that you want to add?
So if anybody wants to discuss any financial requirement, loan requirement, we are here. My team is here. We'll probably address your requirements. So please come and meet us. Thank you. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much, product team. Good presentation by you in respect of the international banking, and I think so this is our need of our for the SME sector. So unless and until you are not adopting the technology, you will not grow in the current situation. So we have one of our partner over here today from the Tata Daily Business Services, Mr. Rana Pratap Singh. He is a Senior Manager of Solution Engineering, and he is going to talk about the boost business using modern business connectivity and other technology solutions. So over to you, Mr. Rana.
So very good evening, VASAIkers. I just want to emerge from that side because right now I'm talking about the technologies and enterprise solutions, right? Because we have talked about that, about the audit functions, about the banking, and overall things, right? Right now we can talk about the technologies, right? So I'm just waiting to actually so today we can discuss about there is some problem because I know the technical team is working for the the over the PPTs, right? So today agenda from the Tata Daily Business Services कि everyone knows about the enterprise grade solutions कि LAN कैसे काम करता है, WAN कैसे काम करता है, how the security work, how the data work, what is the use of voice, what is the use of the cloud platform, right? So we have multiple products. If we're talking about the data, we have multiple products for the enterprise solution grade, right? So we are in the data. This data we are just giving solutions like MPLS, ILL, L3 VPN, L2 VPN, multicast based solutions. That clean pipe internet. If you talk about the voice, we have the SIP, PRI lines. We have the cloud-based solutions, smart flow. When you talk about like IoT solutions, we have the multiple like tracking types of the technologies we have in the IoT features. And in the cloud, we can also work on that hosting and all that part, right? So thank you for saying just troubleshooting this issue because in the terms of networking, we all said this is the troubleshooting, right? And hota hai because everything is prepared there, but some pieces are coming there. If you're troubleshooting anything, there will be something like this type of things are happening, right? But this is a good troubleshooting, right? So today we can talk about our that modern enterprise connectivity. और हम क्या देते हैं customers को, हम enterprise grade में क्या flavors देते हैं, vanilla में, non vanilla. If you say the vanilla products, it means like the data, the plain data. If you say the non vanilla, then that is different. If you just bring that the technologies like VPN based solutions, like cloud based solutions, like IoT based solutions, so we can say that technology that non vanilla products, right? Just moving forward. See the pop-up. If you see on the board, like the products need to evolve in order to meet the rising needs of the market. Means as a Tata, what we are designing a product that is capable and that is fitted to the market. Because in today's market you can see रोज चेंज होते रहते हैं, टेक्नोलॉजीज रोज चेंज होते रहते हैं. बिकॉज कस्टमर इज जस्ट आस्किंग, अभी तो मेरे को इंटरनेट मिल रहा है, इसमें स्पीड नहीं मिल रहा, चल नहीं रहा है, इसमें बहुत सारे लेटेंसीज आ रहे हैं, ग्लिचेस आ रहे हैं. बट व्हाट वी कैन डिजाइन, ठीक है, we can provide the like island type of services, like broadband type of services. What next? कुछ तो कर सकते हैं. बिकॉज ब्रॉडबैंड तो अभी कोई यूज करता नहीं, बिकॉज स्पीड मिलता नहीं सर, उसमें वो स्लो चलता है, इवन द रिलायबिलिटीज भी उसमें ओकेज नहीं है. तो उसके अलावा क्या कर सकते हैं? सो दैट वी हैव डिजाइन्ड द टर्म्स ऑफ लाइक डेटा. सेम वॉइस में भी ऐसा ही है, पीआरआई लाइन से प्रॉब्लम है, सिप में प्रॉब्लम्स आ रहे हैं, राइट? व्हाट वी डू, सो कैन वी जस्ट गो ऑन दैट ऑन द क्लाउड पार्ट? यहाँ मुझे कुछ क्लाउड में सॉल्यूशंस दो कि वी आर जस्ट हैप्पी टू, हाँ टाटा टेली सर्विसेज का हमने लिंक्स लिए हैं, they can work very proper, right? So moving apart, so today I'm talking about the technology landscape, SME landscape, challenges faced by SME, and the question and answer round, right? So first of all, I'll talk about my strength, even the Tata Tele strength, what Tata Tele do, or what are the strengths of Tata Tele. If you see on the strength, we have 60,000 plus connected buildings. Means we have like if you heard about terms. टेलीकॉम में पहले बीटीएस बोलते थे, फिर बीएससी आया, फिर एमएससी आया, फिर इनोड आया, फिर मल्टीपल पॉप्स आया. So what is this? This is nothing but buildings means POPs. We have 60,000 plus POPs across India. This is huge. If you compare with any telecom operator, even you compare with the BSNL or Airtel, ये काफी बड़ा नंबर होता है. And if you see on our optical fiber presence, it's like 1,25,000 kilometers. Means you can just we have delivered the customers in the northeast side, the upper side of of north side. You can go on that south side. So we have capable to deliver any network, any visible network, right? We have as an enterprise we have 1,000 plus strong team. This is there, right? Across India we have large number of enterprise team across cities. Across across districts, you can find the Tata Tele business services managers like salesperson there, right? We have this is the the data 40,000 plus business customers. So we have I am just mentioning their new logo. This is new logo customer 40,000 plus, right? We have a channel partners more than 1,500 plus, and we have presence in the 60 plus cities, right? So let's moving on. So this is what we are delivering right now in the terms of connectivity, in the terms of security solutions, in the terms of collaborations, cloud and SaaS, marketing solution, and IoT. So if you just see on the board, you see on that the connectivity side, you get the multiple features, multiple technology inside the connectivity pattern, right? So we have the solutions in the security also. We have email security, endpoint security, virtual firewall, multi-factor authentications, and the web-based security. So first of all, we can talk about the data. Data means what? We can talk about our solutions like based on the MPLS. So we have the solutions like MPLS, L2 VPN, L3 VPN for point-to-point network, L3 VPN for like hub and spoke technology, and for the any type of technology. We have the connectivity on the MPLS on the LTE side, right? And we can also provide that secure based connections. So this is the diagram for the MPLS connectivity. If you see on that board, like a hub and spoke technology, how it's work. MPLS on LTE, how it's work. Any to any, how it's work. What is internet VPN? It is like that. So we have different flavors of the technologies in the data, voice, and security side. Introducing our new collaborations, like we have now collaborated with the Fortinet. You heard about the Fortinet. If you heard about the Fortinet, so if you heard about the Fortinet, we have a collaboration with the we have a collaboration for the SD-WAN IPlex, right? So SD-WAN is that device because क्या होता था mostly in the cities हमको feasibilities नहीं मिलती थी, right? We have the more challenges for the feasibility side. सर मुझे तो एम्बुलेंस चाहिए, मुझे इंटरनेट की लाइन से तो कुछ होता नहीं है, ठीक है, मुझे आप टेक्नोलॉजी अपडेट करके दो, So we are just launching that SD1 facility कि उसको आप कहीं भी that place that box inside your your LAN area जहाँ पे आप उसको fix कर सकते हो, and we can use the multiple technology on the same box. So it's a very intelligent device जिसमें features आते हैं, बहुत सारे features आते हैं like if you are going to use the 2 to 3 WAN links, you can just deploy that network on the SD1 solutions. So this is the overall diagram, and how it's work. This is our overall the NOC standards. कि ट्रैफिक कहाँ से जाती है, कैसे आता है, एक कस्टमर से कैसे ट्रैफिक आता है, हम कैसे उसको NOC तक ले जाते हैं. क्लाउड पे हमने सब सॉल्यूशंस को रखा है, right? So we have the multiple the connectivity across the India for the same box. हम in house भी देते हैं इसको, on the cloud भी solutions देते हैं. All right. We have just before 2 months ago, right? We have a collaboration with Microsoft also. So we are giving the Microsoft license to the customers. अगर उनका renewal भी है, we can help him for the renewal process. Like Microsoft भी क्या use करते हैं. So there will be like Teams, SharePoint, like Yammer, Office apps, Outlook. So we don't go to the directly to the Microsoft or like Office 365. We can come to the data and we can just solve the problem by just for the licensing and for the renewal process. So you can see on the basic, standard and the premium, we have different flavors inside the Microsoft 365 for business. Moving about, because see, I just मैंने पहले starting में बात किया था कि लोगों को BRI से क्लाइंट से बहुत प्रॉब्लम होती है, सर कट जाता है फाइबर, फिर आपकी बहुत दिन तक आप फाइबर जुड़ नहीं पाते हैं. तो what to do? हमारी कॉलिंग तो बंद हो जाती है because all our office are connected to the BRI lines, हमारा लैंडलाइन नंबर है, हम कैसे इसको आगे सस्टेन करेंगे. और रिमोटली एरिया जैसे वैसे ही हो गया, वैसे ही में तो वैसे ही फाइबर के बहुत इश्यूज होते हैं. आई नो फाइबर कटता है, बट वी आर वर्किंग फॉर द सेम. तो सो उसके लिए हमने क्या किया फॉर द वॉइस प्रोसेस, वी हैव लॉन्च्ड अ प्रोडक्ट दैट्स कॉल्ड स्मार्ट फ्लो. ये क्लाउड बेस्ड फोन है. यहाँ पे क्या होता है कि हम जो आपको यहाँ पे बहुत सारी चीजों की जो इश्यूज है वो खत्म हो जाएगा. लेट्स सपोज वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द फिजिबिलिटी. इसके लिए कोई फिजिबिलिटी की जरूरत नहीं, because all that things are hosted in cloud. We have set up 2 data center across the India. One is in Bangalore, another is in Gujarat. So there will be no requirement for any feasibility. कोई feasibility की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती है. यहाँ पे कोई हार्डवेयर की जरूरत नहीं है. We have provide the credential for the for the user data interface. और आप उसको login करके और you can do the dialing. So that's why we are providing the VID's number, that is called the virtual numbers. That number is starting from 080 and 079. So यहाँ पे आपके लैंडलाइन का नंबर जो है, लैंडलाइन का इश्यूज वो खत्म होता है. ऑन द क्लाउड साइड है, AWS का सारा डेटा सेव होता है, एंड ऑल द कॉल लैंडिंग और इनिशिएटिंग जो इनबाउंड आउटबाउंड फ्लोज होता है वो स्मार्टफोन के थ्रू होगा. So this is very important. और ये it's cover the market. That product launched last year और अभी 1 साल में इसने बहुत ड्रामेटिकली इंक्रीज किया है और अच्छा मार्केट फ्लो बहुत अच्छा है इसका. So inbound solution, click to solutions, missed call solutions, OBD solutions, all we have in the same product, right? So अभी तो मैं इतना ही कर रहा हूँ because we have a long range of products. We have 50 to 55 product in the Tata daily business services. So overall, thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Anyone? So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rana. It was a good presentation. So you can see how the technology is.
Very small level. Maybe connectivity of 10 systems or something like that, and cloud deployment lesser. Come down to that level or?
Oh, it's not like that. You are not to come down to the a ground level because अगर आपके पास 10 system भी है, why not you are going for the cloud system? Because we are just designing the solution as per SME. It's not for the large enterprise. For the large enterprise, our one of the company Tata Communication, so Tata Communication handles the large enterprise, but we are handling as a Tata Television small and medium enterprise. So we have designed a solution for the small and medium enterprise. And even if you think about the commercial, that's also true.
Thank you.
They have the good solutions and products with the Tata Television services. And majority are products basically used by the SME sector also. So I think so from last 10 to 12 years,
we are proud to say that Tata Daily Business Services, Tata Daily team is with us to support the SME sector. So big thank you to the Tata Daily Business Services team. And whenever we raise some sort of queries or raise some sort of issues to them, so we get the quick responses. Recently, we have also taken their services. Not recently, some new services. He mentioned about the Office 365. So Office 365 is again a good solution for your business. All data on cloud, wherever you want, wherever you are, you can access from the phone, access from the laptop, access from the desktop. And it's a very easy process to use and easy to restart also. So use the technology and go ahead with the technology. Thank you, Mr. Rana. And if you have any questions or any information, you can talk to them. And they have a Tata Daily Services booth over here. Yeah.
If you have any queries, you can ask to Mr. Deepak. He is our partner manager from VASAI.
So if you wanted to have some sort of a demo also for some sort of a product, they will reach out to you. So thank you, sir. Thank you. Coming to the point, I'll invite Mr. Madhukar Moite, Zonal Head Small Business Banking, IndusInd Bank, and he will talk about the MSME ecosystem and financing.
Good evening, everyone. So, I don't want to sound a typical banker. So, what I will do is I'll keep this a little bit interactive. थोड़ा बहुत हिंदी एक्चुअली इंक्लूड करेंगे एंड एमएसएमई फाइनेंसिंग पहली बात एक्चुअली हमारे नजर में आती है ना कि व्हाट इज अबाउट एक्चुअली द माय वर्किंग कैपिटल और टर्म लोन फाइनेंस आई विल ट्राई टू एड्रेस इट दिस डिफरेंट वे व्हाट आई से एक्चुअली द फाइनेंसिंग एंड एज पर द फाइनेंशियल ओके द फाइनेंसिंग इन टर्म्स ऑफ द कैपिटल रिक्वायरमेंट इज द लास्ट थिंग शुड बी द एमएसएमई माइंड हाउ इट साउंड्स थोड़ा सा उसको अलग तरीके से देखते हैं now any actually the MSME company we take it okay now we have the first thing actually now any business you raise it so business has a certain capital requirement why is it actually the environment has become so when we talk about capital the first thing coming is actually in the mind is the finance when capital comes I'm actually taking actually other way I'm saying actually finance is the last thing. Now look at the capital actually for any kind of a business requirement. What are the capital actually? I will say actually the probably actually you from the entrepreneur's angle and so now for VASAI, okay, now VASAI is a manufacturing company. Now I take an industry example. Now VASAI you have a lot of utensils manufacturing. Now they will actually range from 2 crore turnover to maybe a 200 crore turnover. So what I first thing I think capital requirement for any business is a natural capital. Now natural capital will be actually the ecosystem will support them. Natural capital could be the promoter actually who brings actually the talent with him. Probably actually he has worked in a 20 years in a logistics company. When he's setting a logistics company, that is a capital. That is a natural capital. And I think that is the foremost and the most important actually the capital for the business. There is human capital. There is a technical capital. There is knowledge capital. Now, business, any business actually to survive and thrive and to go ahead, it requires actually these capitals first. Now, and then last actually the financing capital. I'll give you the real example now. Now we have seen a lot of this startup world, okay, the way they are funded, and you have seen actually the last couple of months what is happening. What is happening? The way rate of interest are going up. What was actually the funding done in last financial year? Vis-a-vis what is actually the funding happening? What is going wrong? What is going wrong and what is happening? Now fundamentally there are 3-4 things if you look at it. Now the businesses which are actually built on the natural capital, which are built on the knowledge, which are built on the technical, which are built on the product and services, and which are customer oriented, which actually are revenue generated, they will not have a lack of capital. And when I actually the capital, now I can use the financing word. They will not have a lack. So the businesses which were actually the behind actually the valuation, businesses which were actually building the six pack, but no health inside. Health is actually then they will actually they're bound to lose their six packs over the period. Because unless until you are actually healthy from inside, how can you dream about getting the six packs? Probably you can work on the steroids. So look at actually this way. Now financing should come the effortless. Where that financing will come the effortless? Now let me give you one more example. Now doctor is typically MSME segment, a self-employed doctor. Now you have a dentist and you have a IVF clinic. When doctor actually runs IVF clinic, both are actually the segment same. Both are having the same actually the requirement in terms of the capital. But now when we go to the dentist, you will find actually lot of actually the patients waiting in the waiting area in the OPD department. But you will have actually couple of actually patients waiting in the IVF clinic. But by revenue wise, maybe the actually doctor who runs IVF clinic, he must be making more revenue than actually the dentist who runs. So fundamentally, actually, when we talk about actually the financing, I think we need to keep all these actually the natural capital, technical capital, knowledge capital in place, and then we should actually move to the working capital financing or a long-term financing or like growth financing. That actually. Now there are 3-4. Now when we talk about actually the financing, now couple of things. Now we need to actually segregate. What is my need vis-a-vis actually what is my want? Now if I put it actually, maybe my want is actually maybe just look up for the kid. I mean the kid actually wants to eat a burger every day, but is it really required? He should be actually having some healthy consumption, healthy food. Now we should look at actually for every working capital or very financing requirement from what is actually my want versus the need requirement. Now when we look at this, what is my business output? Now let's say my business output as an entrepreneur is I want to actually make maybe a 20 crore top line. I want to make a maybe 30 crore top line. So there is something actually the entrepreneur runs with the projected financials. He has a clear goal in mind. What is the revenue, bottom line? End of the day, whatever top line I can make it, every runs actually primarily and thrives on the what is bottom line actually I generate. What is the residual capital I make it? So what is actually business requirement? If I were actually as an entrepreneur, it should be very clear in our mind. If I want to meet actually a 20 crore top line, how much is the real capital requirement? There is no need to actually borrow extra if you don't require it. See, borrowing extra will go actually good in a good environment, in an environment which is stable. But probably actually when we generate too much of debt, then it will not actually go in the environment which is a hostile. Because our segment, MSCD segment, is a very fragile when it comes to the any actually industrial change, any actually the economical cycle change. So we have to understand what is our requirement in terms of the business. Then we have to actually now the capital requirement. Now there are two angles to look at the capital requirement. As a business, we have something on the daily requirement, the daily business needs. We should be very clear. So what are our daily requirements? In a sense, if I have to run business for 12 months, okay, what is my monthly requirement on this? And there is then second actually, do I meet actually my daily requirement on the running cash flow? Now from the capital which is generated out of maybe the self, maybe in some cases friends, in some cases maybe customer money. That is also achievement. So can I meet that actually daily requirement from my ongoing cash flow? But when it comes to my growth capital, can I actually then explore other avenues? What are those other avenues to be? Now can I then actually, and that is where I am coming, the fundamentally what is the bottom line you are making? Are you making enough bottom line where you can grow your company sustainable way? So if I am making actually 20 crore, can I make a 1 crore actually a bottom line? Probably on a large or maybe a 50 crore bottom line. And that 50 crore bottom line which I am making, okay, that 50 crore I can bring it as my residual capital, which is my actually product. So then there is no space. Can I actually, does my business or industry support actually maybe the equity infusion on a large scale? Does my business supports maybe actually some kind of debt actually requirement on a large scale? So I have to look at that also. And then lastly actually, what are the adjustments I can do? I mean, entrepreneurs actually in the change of dynamic and the daily requirements, they should be very, very clear. What are, so for example, adjustments. So there is something called, now a lot of time actually we go for the growth actually the phase. In a growth phase, we should be very clear can I actually borrow in a cheaper rate? Can I go for the actually, suppose I'm an exporter, little bit, can I guarantee in my top line a 20% export rate and I can take FCPL? FCPL vis-a-vis actually the INR funding, and if I have a natural hedge, I can borrow it 5%, I can borrow it 6%. That gives me additional advantage. So any rupee actually I say whenever I meet actually SME customers, I tell them any rupee saved on the banking charges or the financing or the interest is rupee added to bottom line. So don't look at it actually you have to look at it any rupee for that matter anywhere actually you have saved is a addition to your bottom line. Look at from that angle. And then lastly I will on the quickly I will come the what I call is the 5 checks of capital. Now there are fundamentally 5 things we have to check. In a sense, source. Now my source of capital we should be very clear. Now when we say now capital, when we bring it as an equity of own, we bring it as a friends, we bring it as actually some investor, and we should be very clear how much we can borrow also. How much we can borrow. So that should be very clear that I should be borrowing because your capital can't be everything a debt. You have to actually support a sustainable growth. You have to bring in actually the right kind of equity also. It could be yours, it could be friends, it could be the customer money also. But it has to be in the right proportion. Then purpose. Now purpose should be very clear. Now when I use a capital, I can't use actually the short-term capital for the long-term actually needs. That is the very fundamental. And now a lot of times you must have actually interacting with the bankers. They take undertaking, we take actually a lot of. There is a fundamental reason behind it. Now your long-term financing has actually the long-term actually it has the cash flow effect so low. But if you use actually your long-term requirement with the short-term financing, it will over the period it will not actually be the sustainable. Then we have a segregation. Now effective action here, I will tell you the segregation. Now a lot of time we have seen there are entrepreneurs, personal actually financials are maybe actually interlinked with the business actually finance. I think time has actually in our time of when we have seen that should be actually be separate. Now if you look at it, now I have built as a capital entrepreneur in a business. I should not look at it as actually I am owning the company. What I should be looking at is I have just employed the company and I will build actually a good return on this capital which I have employed. I mean that thought process when we do it, I think that an entrepreneur or the MSME owner will have a right way. Then he will actually the segregate finances, personal business with the business finances. Then we have an ecosystem. We are talking about the ecosystem. Now, do we actually have a right ecosystem actually which supports entire growth and now when I talk about the ecosystem is your customer, your supplier, your banker, your investor, your employees. So the ecosystem and should be very well aware actually what the structure and what actually the ecosystem should be actually very well aware that XYZ company stands for this, XYZ company stands for products, services. They have a immense capital as far as actually the business output is concerned. So your ecosystem will support. Once you have a sustainable business, then financing will come effortless. Then financing will be not. Then again actually on the ecosystem, we have to once a product. So for example, in a big basket, have you ever heard on a big basket actually we do a big order and big basket actually takes order and says that sorry, we won't be able to actually the supply so and so product. Because they have built algorithm ecosystem in such a way, so hottest selling product is actually replenished again and again. So you should be standing for that kind of actually the customer service because world is changing dynamically. World is changing. I think the old actually say the tortoise wins the race. Probably actually that is little bit actually we need to be actually we have to change little bit. The fast and steady actually wins the race. That is what the mantra. And largely actually one aspect on the capital actually which I think is a digitization. Now digitization is a must. Why I say now old entrepreneurs have their way actually to do their businesses. Probably a lot of things were offline, online. We were actually so we heard actually the sir initially from the Deloitte. He was speaking about what kind of challenges may be actually now the GST system is well established. It's a 5-year-old. Probably actually we will have lot of challenges in terms of the accustoming it, auditing it. Probably time has come actually keeping ambiguity less and less and coming clear. Because business, if you run in a formal way, you will have immense growth. But if you keep ambiguity, I think there are too many ifs and buts. So probably actually we have to use digitization in that format. Keep clearness in the business. So that is what actually the little bit on the. So we have to look at actually financing different angle. I'll share 4-5 minutes on the kind of services we offer on the working capital side from the or financing side from the illicit bank. So what we do is we typically on the SME side we fund from 24 lakh to 20 crore. In terms of the solutioning, we have a customized solutioning. So as I was mentioning, when we talk about the customized solutioning, in a sense, when we made actually the any manufacturer, he has a little bit of export also. So we try to give financing in the export financing, which is if there is a certain underlying risk involved when we borrow from the foreign currency, but we try to actually structure it in such a way that everything is hedged, and there is no underlying risk involved in terms of the currency fluctuation. So we for example we give you this $1 account, which is a flat 70 rupee charges for the any trade transaction. We give FCPN, which is in the range of 5 to 6%. If you are an exporter and if you have actually a growth capital requirement, you are looking for debt, I strongly urge you can go for the structured FCPN. Obviously, after actually checking the every underlying, even actually checking with the CA and consulting a couple of actually the well-known experienced advisors also. But that is so something on that we have been actually the funding all kind of actually the capital expansion. So I have heard someone actually from the sir was speaking from the Bhumi. So suppose actually anybody of you are planning to purchase a property in Bhumi, we can fund that. We can fund that up to 75% roughly. So we can. So any kind of actually debt requirement, any capital working capital requirement, we are there. Along with this, typically for the startups or those who are in the ecosystem for 2 years, minimum 2 years, we have actually non-financial eligibility criteria. So that is what we call GSTOD. And that's what actually I was making a point. We have to be very clear on the GST. So we fund against GST. So basically, whatever up to 2 crore of the funding, basis on the last 24 months GST filing detail track record, we can fund up to 2 crore. So that is one of the actual product where the digitization, I can give you example, in 4 hours, it's a faster than personal loan sanction. So morning actually we did, and it is entirely API driven. So what you do is actually you just give a KYC, you give us only GST certificate, you will give us a couple of application form. That's it. Nothing else is taken, and bank statement in a soft copy format. You give us actually OTP comes on your. Then we go to the actually the GST website. We log in. The API link is enabled. You receive an OTP, so you give us authentication to bank. Yes, you can access my GST data. We access your GST data. We check other actually due. For example, your civil and banking. And basis on that, we give a sanction in the same day. Some of the sanction we have done in 3.5 hours flat. So it's a faster than personal. And the way that works, and the time has come actually, we have seen that digitization, the way digitization has happened actually supply chain financial, or maybe actually some of the products on the MSME side also digital. I think time has come very, and probably actually we are not far away where working capital financing can be done in a 3-4 days actually time for even 10 crore, 20 crore time. Because everything is available digital. Everything is available digital now. So we need to create. So this is one of the product GSTOD product where we strongly urge actually clients, particularly who are actually 2 years vintage, 3 year vintage. And because we understand when you start a business, there are too many nuances. So probably you will not build a balance sheet which banker will like. But your GST data is sufficient enough to prove the credential of the business to the credential of the promoter or the MSME company. We have our couple of things which we do, and we speak to client. Okay, so we are one of the 30-35 banks. Okay, what we bring differently on the table is when we go and when we speak to entrepreneur, we try to customize. we don't actually give the bundle rate product, but we try to actually customize basis on their need, what is best and what is suitable for them, that we do. So that's actually a little bit from me on the financing side or the capital requirement of the MSMEs. Thank you very much. I'm open for any question and answer if you have.
What is the minimum civil you need for any finance?
So civil, for example, in GST we take a 650 on the civil. Okay, and this is on the consumer side, on the individual. So promoter who is actually backing the company, 650 is the minimum score. And for the commercial civil, we take CMR 7 and above. So CMR 7, 6, that's how we actually. CMR 8, 9, 10. If that actually ranking comes, we have to look at the case to case basis.
Okay, sir.
So if GST OD is over and above in other OD?
No, so what happens actually GST OD? Typically what happens? So GST OD eligibility is decided. If you have, let's say, GST file, you last year you filed a GST of 4 crore. Okay. So we give it 30% of the limit. So let's have a 4 crore GST user typical turnover file. Okay. So 30% of that comes roughly around 1.33. So 1.33 crore this year OD is given, and which is sufficient for actually the top line of 4 crore company. So generally, if you take a GST OD, you don't require over and above that limit. So you will require, maybe you will require for your growth need. Probably you are, but working capital, this will be a sufficient.
Collateral free?
No, this is not a collateral free. This is collateral is underlying is actually we take sir actually industrial collateral also. So we are not actually insisting only the residential we take it. There are actually some institutions when it comes to the OD under particular residential or commercial is taken, but we take factories also.
Sir, what is the normal rate of interest for buying a property?
Okay, so if you are an exporter, sir, okay, so for example, now last actually 3 to 4 months actually the way rates are acting now. So whatever I say, you have to take with a pinch of salt. But currently, rate of interest which is offered for the long-term financing is roughly around 8.25 to 8.5.
On machinery also?
Yes, machinery also we can. For machinery, see sir, machinery if you are importing, we structure transaction in such a way that we give you LC first. So what happens now? Machinery when you purchase and let's say import, so what we'll do? You will actually probably you'll do some advance payment. You'll probably on this import machine 30%, 50% is the minimum advance where we pay. What we suggest, you give a LC. If you give me the advance payment, you will straight away 8.5% rate of interest will start. But you give a LC, which will be the 1% non-fund based limit, you can save. And once with the customer, your buyer, your seller is comfortable because he has a LC. You save money because you have availed non-fund limit instead of fund based. And once that machine comes, we can actually give the fund with a long-term bias credit, which is for 3 years. Again, it will be given in the foreign currency. You can avail that entire funding less than 4%, all in use.
Bias credit is available for raw material also?
Raw material also. So raw material generally up to 180 days. Okay, generally there are certain rules and regulations which can be extended a little bit, but 180 days is
closed down for the.
But we are the bank actually. Okay, so I'm happy to say that. So we are one of the few bank who is doing bias credit. You are right. In between actually after some fiasco, it was stopped, but around actually
diamond industry.
Yes, diamond industry. Yeah, there are a couple of clients which are actually defaulted on the diamond. That was the trigger point where the bias credit was stopped. But we funded. Obviously, structuring is actually has become little tighter. The regulatory compliance because RBI is also very strict. So where actually the end users is happening. So, but we do actually. We are happy that we are doing it, and ticket size as low as actually for 30 lakh, 40 lakh, 50 lakh also we do it. Bias credit.
How Indus Bank is planning to reduce this cycle of working capital financing from supply chain financing, right? Bring a digitization as a place. So how you are looking this particular?
Okay, so there are two things which we are doing now. So for example, GST OD. So this works in a hybrid environment now. Okay, for example, GST OD, it is a 50% digital, 50% manual. So when I say digital, So for bank it is a digital, but for customer when it comes, the customer has to still actually provide the few documents in a physical format. In a sense, soft copy is taken, okay, the application form and all. Over the period, what we are going to do in further this only, customer will say that we on the formal portal, customer will submit the documents, he'll have a sanction, and the sanction letter and all actually documents, executable documents, will be actually sent to him on the email only, or he can access the portal. He can sign the documents, it will be actually digitally signed, and they will be submitted for the disbursement. That is the process which we are looking at in 4 to 5 months.
Do you offer a home seva account?
Yeah.
Do you offer a home seva account for the housing loan?
So currently, as a bank, we don't offer home loan. But let me tell you, so home loan is a product which is currently under actually the preparation. Okay, and very soon actually you will hear in a big way that IndusInd is coming in the home loan in a 2 months time. So already product note and everything, because home loan is a very critical product. The disbursement happen in a tranches, so you have to have a back-end support for that.
No, when it happens, they assume that in 2 months. So do you have a provision for home loan saver accounts? Like you connect with your business and then.
Yeah, so that I would be able to comment as of now because product is still under the. Yeah. And on the digital financing on the supply chain. So for example, there are some anchors, okay, and probably let me give you an example. So there is a Maruti or there is a Philips, okay, or there is for that matter HPCL, BPCL, large POC, or there are Tatas, okay. So these anchors we have a tie-up, okay. If any MSMEs are supplying to these anchors, large anchors, so we have a digital finance, so where actually the invoice is uploaded on the IndusInd, that linkage is given through the API, invoice is uploaded, the anchor accepts, and we fund actually the 90% or 85%, whatever is happening.
Hello.
Yes, that's a bill discounting.
What about working capital process? If I am not coming to the story or a bill discounting part, if I need to reduce that entire cycle of applying working capital loan, how the retention is going to play from banking side?
So there are two set of actually the sanctioning process. So as of now, there is one process where there is a fully digital or a hybrid digital, which is the GST, and other is a judgmental lending. So even judgmental lending, because of the customized approach, because we are not that large, so we pay attention to the customers. Our sanction actually generally for the large ticket. So large ticket, when I say in this gathering, I can assume a 10 crore, 20 crore is a sizable figure. So we give in a sanction, 10 to 15 days time.
Sir, we'll have a last question.
Sir, if any property documents is need to deposit against that OD?
Yes, sir. So generally what we do for the GST OD, we take residential, commercial, or if you are a manufacturer, a factory, if you are a own manufacturing place, the factory.
Is there any other rules for service industry?
Service industry, yes, service industry rule only the same. Actually, the entire appraisal process, sanctioning process remains same. Okay, and as far as the GST is concerned, and the property only obviously because it's the services, it will be a residential or commercial. That's how it will change.
Thank you.
So just one last thing actually. Okay, very soon actually we have been also actually doing a lot of things. So couple of actually I had a couple of questions in the corridor whether actually we are doing any government schemes or something. So we are working something with the city on the hybrid manner. Probably actually this year you'll hear us on something on the hybrid way we are working with the city. So probably some GST, CGTMAC, some collateral. So that will support.
One is lock-in period, is there any lock-in period? Second is the commitment charges, and third is about the foreclosure charges.
Okay. So generally working capital limits. Okay, by nature they are running limits. So once we take a limit, so advisable is actually you run that at least for a year. If it's a running, okay, advice. And after a year, you can assess a requirement. You can assess a requirement whether you feel actually this is the bank which will support my business growth also, which understand also. So then there are, for example, anywhere client who takes a CC from us, okay, working capital, and he has some actually cyclical business in nature. So there probably actually you will have an additional working capital requirement. Probably actually the commodity business, which is actually very strongly in the Diwali season, you will have additional requirement there. So what we do to meet that additional working capital, we give over and about 20% for 3 months to meet that actually natural requirement. So overall above we try to actually meet entrepreneurs' needs. But to answer your question, 1 year is a suggestible. 1 year actually if you complete and you don't want to continue, you give a written notice to bank that you don't want to renew the limits. You don't renew the limits, there will be no foreclosure charges. Right? Thank you. And my colleagues are sitting backside, so if you can actually have some queries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mode. We talk about the finance, we talk about the technology, exports, and we'll come to the next point, that is innovation. So I'll invite Mr. Nikhil Halgi from Hankel Adhesive Technologies Private Limited. He will talk about the innovation and invention in adhesive segments. So I'll request rest of the speakers, please adhere to their time. We need some more time to have a question answers also, and we will make it more interactive.
Hi, I'm Nikhil, Target Account Manager for Central India. I'll be talking about, I'll be taking a 15 minutes time and explain you what we are doing in the field of adhesives. I'll be using Hindi and English while speaking. So, just to understand, VASAI is, as mentioned by many of the speakers, is a manufacturing hub. But सबके पास तो कार तो होंगे ही जो यूज करते हैं. तो जब मैं बचपन में खेलने के लिए जाता था ग्राउंड में, अब तो बड़े ग्राउंड्स नहीं है, तो मैं आई बिलोंग टू विलेज जहाँ पे अगर कोई गाड़ी खड़ी रहती, स्पेशली एम्बेसडर व्हिच आई रिकॉल वेरी क्लियरली, तो वहाँ से अगर एम्बेसडर गाड़ी अगर खड़ी है तो मेरे को पता चलता था कि वहाँ पे गाड़ी खड़ी. द रीजन वाज वहाँ पे ऑयल लीक होता. तो आज कल के गाड़ी में कहीं पे भी वो नहीं दिखता है, तो सालों साल खड़ी रहती है. एंड इफ यू सी देयर इज इफ इट इज स्टैंडिंग देयर फॉर अ वेरी लॉन्ग टाइम, टायर पंचर भी हो जाता है, खराब हो जाता है, धूल मिट्टी चढ़ जाते हैं उसके ऊपर, बट ऑयल लीकेज कहीं नहीं दिखता. तो वो किस वजह से है, इज ओनली बिकॉज ऑफ लॉकडाउन. सो आई प्ले अ वीडियो जस्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट वी आर इनटू. सो एरोप्लेन्स. To trains, to automobiles.
When you get on a flight, take a ride on a train, in a car, bus, pass by a crane, around a dump truck, or simply enjoy the cool air coming from the vent above your head. Do you think about how you could make it better? How to make it lighter, stronger, faster, more reliable? So do we. Because people rely on machines, and machines rely on Loctite.
So machines rely on Loctite. Why adhesives? What actually adhesives do? If people have come across joining two different substrates, SS cannot be welded with MS, as simple as that, because there is no, it is not possible. With adhesives, it is possible. So there is a big opportunity to explore a different designing approach, dissimilar stress relief. For example, if there is a spot welding, if you can see in the image, there is a bonding area on the lap shear. The stress is distributed uniformly. If there is a spot welding done, possible ये होगा कि वहाँ पे उस joint पे जहाँ पे stress होता है, for example, if there is a hole, बचपन में हम सबने पढ़ा जहाँ पे hole होता है, अगर पेपर को काटते हैं तो उस जगह से ही फटता है, तो there is a stress there actually. But when you apply adhesive, the stress is uniformly distributed. फर्स्ट टाइम में बहुत सारे LED कस्टमर्स हैं, यहाँ पे भी होंगे शायद से, तो बॉन्डिंग एंड फिटिंग उनको बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छी तरीके से पता रहेगा. इम्प्रूव एस्थेटिक्स, अभी आप समझ लीजिएगा पहले की गाड़ी जो होते थे उसके जो गैसकेटिंग होते थे वहाँ पे बोल्ट एंड नट लगाया जाता था, आजकल उस विंडशील्ड को चिपकाया जाता है, तो इट इम्प्रूव्स एस्थेटिक्स along with increasing the reliability. Gap filling, भी एक पॉसिबिलिटी है, और ये सारे प्रोसेस जो एडहेसिव है कैन ऑल बी ऑटोमेटेड. एक रोबो होगा जो सब डिस्पेंस कर सकता है एंड आपके प्रोसेस को और साइकिल टाइम को कम कर सकता है. So इससे क्या होगा is you can improve your manufacturing process, प्रोडक्ट का परफॉर्मेंस भी अच्छा कर सकते हैं. We always talk about cost per component, तो हम जब बात करते हैं इस चीज़ के बारे में तो हम कॉस्ट रिडक्शन भी करते हैं and with no compromise in reliability. It will always be on a higher side. So who we are? We are Henkel. We are leading world adhesive supplier. We are a 20 billion euro company. So what does this mean to you? Is we are across the globe, and we have a lot of innovations. We have our own R&D teams. One which is in Pune. It is an NABL accredited lab. Any testing related to adhesives can be done in that lab. And more importantly, 42% of our sale comes from emerging markets. So I would be explaining only two types of technology just to overview, but we have a lot more than that in our basket. We have anaerobic technology where we have thread lockers. All SMEs have threaded fasteners. Vibration से lose होते हैं, sound आते हैं, corrosion होता है, बहुत सारे challenges रहते हैं. एक one drop of Loctite and very precisely, no automotive vehicle has a spring washer or a castle nut or double nut in it. It's all Loctite which is used there. Thread sealant, आजकल हम Teflon देखते हैं, but Teflon is not a sealant technically. हम thread sealant use करते हैं जहाँ पे we can withstand a pressure of 10,000 psi. 10,000 psi is around 680 bar. So that's huge pressure, high bursting pressure. We have gasketing flanges. अभी एक स्टोरी बताया जिसमें गाड़ी जो होते थे पहले कॉर्क गैस्केट यूज होता था या पेपर गैस्केट यूज होते थे. इट इज ऑल लिक्विड गैस्केट व्हिच फिल्स एंड बॉन्ड्स टू कंपोनेंट्स क्लियरली. जो सिलेंड्रिकल असेंबलीज होते थे उसको भी हम बॉन्ड कर सकते हैं, जो भी मेटालिक सिलेंड्रिकल कंपोनेंट्स होते हैं. इंस्टेंट एडेसिव्स जो छोटे कंपोनेंट्स होते हैं जो इंस्टेंट बॉन्डिंग करके रखना होता है, तो वी हैव अ लॉट ऑफ रेंज इन दिस. Apart from this, I would like to mention we have cleaners, we have polymer composites. आपके कोई equipment खराब हुआ है या pipeline simple है, अगर pipeline खराब हुआ है उसको आपको repair करना है या कोई machine, so we have maintenance, we have cleaners, we have mold releasings again, we have even a polymer composite repair here. We have a lot of range within ourselves. What do? We partner with customers. We offer an extensive network of expertise, knowledge and validation methods. As I said, we involve with customers from the design stage, educate them how adhesive can be used so that they can make their component more reliable. We consult, technical support is always given, certificated products are always there. As you have seen in the corporate videos, from aeroplanes to a small needle, which is used in the medical industry, are all having Loctite in it. So we have all the certifications required, and as I mentioned, we have a lab in Pune, which is NABL accredited. Any testing related to adhesives can be done there. We even do a tech day. If you have any industrial area, we can bring in our all experts from various segments and do a technology day where you can, similar to this, where there will be multiple booths for different technologies and you can explore them. We can do that. We have a teardown process. If you already have a component where you want to optimize it by increasing the reliability or reducing cost or improving the manufacturing process, we do a teardown activity of the existing component also. We do a plant survey where, if possible, where we visit your manufacturing setup. We understand where we can help you increase the reliability, reduce downtime, or again reduce the cost again. So those things. We have also initiated a project called Dutch, where we don't sell product, but we talk more about adhesive. I'm a mechanical engineer myself, so what I see is in my curriculum I had only one paragraph of adhesives. But what we see in industry is it has a huge potential. So we educate customer, in this project we educate customer only about adhesives and make them understand what adhesives can do and what they can bring into their products to make it much bigger. I would end it with one more video just to show the capability of the adhesive, what it can do. It's 3 grams adhesives.
3 grams of adhesive. 1 hour. $208 tons. Only one brand can make that math work. Loctite Universal Structural Bonders. So strong, versatile, and durable. There's no limit to what they can do.
So that is what you can follow us on LinkedIn. We are at Henkel Adhesives so that you can understand more about what is happening in the adhesive world. And thank you. If you have any questions, I am here to take your questions. Yeah.
Do you have a specific product which can bond metal and metal?
That's a very tricky question, sir. We do have, but we will have to test it because Teflon technically is very difficult to bond. But we do have certain products where we can increase the surface energy of the Teflon and we can bond it. Do let us know what we can do. Yes. Yes, sir.
Are you used in pipelines also? Pipelines.
What do you actually need in pipelines, sir?
No, I just wanted to know. In gas, oil,
Yeah,
so
we
used extensively.
Yes, we are into oil and gas segment also. That's the biggest market for us, sir. Yes, we do the composite pipe.
No, because recently we had home pipe gas. So I saw the technology, it's really beautiful.
Yes.
So Henkel is doing a great job.
Thank you, sir.
Can it fit metal and plastic?
Which plastic, sir, to be precise?
What is the PVC?
Can you?
HDPE.
HDPE, yes, we can do bonding of them, so yes. Do let us know what we can do, what is the component, because a lot of technical details are required, yes. Thank you, sir.
As you said that you have a technology for thread lock, right?
Yes.
So if like we are into fastening industry, so if the quantity is in millions, like
Yes.
10x or
Yes.
do you also concerned with like automatic process or anything else?
So we have, these are all liquid adhesives which we sell, but we also have a product which can be pre-applied on the adhesives. Automotive industries actually use that. It can be pre-applied. I don't know if you have seen IKEA boards which come in. It has a yellow tape or a red tape, blue tape.
Right.
Yes, that is pre-applied thread lockers. That is capsulated. When the bolt is fastened on it, the adhesive is dispensed and it gets locked.
So we have to apply that manually.
No, the equipment comes with it. You have to use the equipment. Yes.
So it can be either way. We have an automation system as well. We define it based on your process. Or you can go for pre-applied.
Yeah, both.
So pre-applied, like it will be like a capsule, right?
No, it will be a small granules which will be applied on, with the process it can be applied on the bolts.
But it should be before assembly, right? Like
when the bolt is there, it is as simple as that. It is a normal bolt which has an adhesive already applied on it. You need not apply with a bottle, it is already applied on it.
You can purchase such bolts. So if we have some contracting facilities where they will apply it to you and give it to you.
Apply and give it to
you. Or maybe you can apply it with
On
the
yours.
Yeah, one question. I heard the gentleman asking about Teflon.
Yes.
So, if I have a fluorinated tubing, can the leakage be stopped?
You can come again.
If I have a fluorinated tubing, can Loctite stop the leakage?
Is it a threaded?
No, it's not a threaded joint.
Then how is it?
It's a tubing. It's a tube.
Tube. Okay.
It's fluorinated. It's FEP, fluorinated ethylene propylene.
Okay.
So will that?
It is possible. So we'll have to use a mix of a set of adhesives. It's not a one product solution. It could be a set of multiple solutions because it would have certain gap into it. So we
We need to close that gap.
Okay, so
There will be multiple products which will be used.
So give me a contact of your technical person and send me his detail.
We can discuss it. We can after that.
Wow.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Looking at the tremendous strength of the adhesive,
Yeah.
so what are the raw materials used in manufacturing?
So basically our raw materials are all crude oil driven. So it's a recipe where multiple chemicals are mixed.
So like plastics are also derived from petroleum. So can waste plastics be used in the manufacturing?
Basically when an adhesive cures, it becomes a thermoset plastic. So adhesive itself is a thermoset plastic.
So there is a scope.
Good presentation and a very good presentation. He will share his contact details. The team is here. If you need any assistance, you can just talk to them. Friends, as I told you earlier, also, we are here to support you. We are here to guide you. We are here to enhance your knowledge as well as giving a hand holding to you. So for the VASAI region, we have I have some small announcement over here. So we have Mr. Kiran Palshetkar over here. He is working as a general manager SME Chamber of India, and he is a dedicated person for the VASAI region. So after this event, he will come and call you. He will meet you. If you have any queries related to any industry, in any you can say vertical, you can meet him. You can give your time to him, discuss with him. That will come to us. We will try to resolve many of your problems and we'll try to give you the biggest solutions. So Kiran is having basically 22 years experience into the banking and business advisory services. He has joined SME Chamber of India and he will totally take care for the VASAI region. Thank you, Kiran. So we were talking about the alternative source of financing. Gentlemen raised a question about the trade, and we have one other way, that is the factoring and trades. These are the two things. So I invite Mr. Nikhil Pujari, Manager Strategic Alliances and Channel Partnership, Trade Capital, to talk about the factoring as a finance tool for the growing SME exporters. So over to you, Nikhil. Nikhil will talk about both the things. If you have any further questions, we will discuss it. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So, Nikhil here from Trade Capital. I handle partnerships and alliances. So, before starting, I think I would like to start off by thanking the SME Chamber. So, they've been doing a great job. Since the past 28 years, they have helped businesses grow. So, I think they have done a phenomenal job. So, before we start off, I would like to start off actually by talking about India. फिलहाल इंडिया में एक्चुअली चल के आ रहा है, राइट? सो वी सी कि फॉर इंडियन गुड्स देयर हैज बीन अ ग्रेट डिमांड ओवरऑल ग्लोबल ऑन अ ग्लोबल लेवल. We are getting a lot of demand for a variety of goods, probably say manufacturing, seafood, meat, spices, rice, whatever it is, because we are constantly able to produce goods at very, very low prices. That has been a very good thing about India, right? But what is exactly happening? There is something going wrong. So what has exactly happened, right? So the past 2 years, as we know, has been very difficult for all of us. So COVID times, I think it has been very challenging. Increased freight charges, vessel unavailability, everything has gone 3x, 4x. So it has been a very difficult time for all of us, right? So that has been one of the major challenges. Now, where do we see SMEs and MSMEs growing ahead for India? So, if you talk specifically about this segment, they have a contribution of close to around 30% to India's GDP. So, that's a very significant number if you understand the crux of it, right? And this segment adds a lot of jobs on an annual level, and year on year, there's a lot of more activity. The government is actually supporting this segment to overall grow the country, right? And overall, from an export point of view, there are around 40% contribution from this segment, around 8,000 different varieties of products to 190 countries. So you can imagine how important is this segment for India's overall growth. Right? But as I mentioned, there is a credit gap. There is something that is going wrong. So what is exactly happening? Right? So in India, whenever any exporter wants to do any kind of business, यहाँ पे क्या होता है, मतलब सबसे पुरानी हमारी lending agency कौन सी है? It's a bank, right? तो an exporter एक बैंक के पास जाता है, the first reply that he gets is, sir, आप क्या गिरवी रखोगे? आपके पास क्या लैंड है, आपके पास मशीनरी है जो आप रख सकते हो कोलैटरल के बेसिस पे. So that is one of the major differences and one of the probably disadvantages why you can say SMEs are not getting enough credit, right? The second important reason is that अब जैसे SMEs का क्या होता है, they are actually working on very slim margins, right? आजकल competition बहुत ज़्यादा है, सब कम rates पे बेच रहे हैं, because of which margins are very slim. That is the reason probably उनके financials भी काफी हद तक ठीक नहीं होंगे, and that is not acceptable to a bank, right? तो ये दो चीजों की वजह से they are not able to get credit from banks easily, right? तो मैं शुरू से problems बता रहा हूँ, तो ये सबका कोई तो एक solution होगा, right? That is exactly where we come in. We are Direct Capital. We are a US-based startup. We are basically providing working capital for all Indian exports for all kinds of non-LC transactions. A little bit more about us. We have pan-India presence, Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai being our main operating area. And some more facts about us, we have raised more than around 500 million from top investors like Sequoia, Axel, etc. Just like SME Chamber, we also partner with FIO, EPC and other prestigious councils, right? And till date, since the past 3 to 4 years, we have financed more than 2.7 billion in total transactions. On a pan-India level, we work with more than 1,500 exporters, and that's across not just tier 1 or tier 2 cities. We work with the most remote villages जहाँ पे exports ज़्यादा होते हैं, right? तो what is this exactly? मैं बता रहा हूँ हम working capital provide करेंगे, कैसे करेंगे, क्या करेंगे, no idea, right? तो what is it exactly that we do? तो हम जो करते हैं उसको technical terms में कहते हैं invoice discounting, bill discounting, export factoring, right? These are the different terminologies to it. I'll just simplify this with a very simple example, right? Let's say there is a manufacturing company based out of VASAI, right? They are working with a US-based buyer. ठीक है, अब buyer इनको advance तो देगा नहीं. There might be some kind of credit, be it 30 days, 60, 90, जो भी होगा, right? तो यहाँ पे दिक्कत आ गई because 30, 60, 90 days के लिए इनका cash तो block हो गया, नए orders ले नहीं पाएंगे, right? तो यहाँ पे Direct Capital क्या करेंगे? जैसे ही first day पे इनके goods ship हो गए, हम supplier को provide करेंगे 80% of the invoice value. ठीक है, समझ लीजिए 1 करोड़ का इनवॉइस होगा, 80 लाख हम प्रोवाइड करेंगे ऑन द वेरी फर्स्ट डे, राइट? अब मटेरियल वहां पे पहुंच गया, बायर ने एक्सेप्ट कर लिया, ही इज एंजॉयिंग हिज क्रेडिट पीरियड, उसको 30-60 डेज का उसको टाइम मिल रहा है टू पे बैक, ही इज एंजॉयिंग दैट पीरियड, राइट? लेट्स अभी अज्यूम करते हैं पीरियड खत्म हो गई, नाउ ही इज पेइंग द अमाउंट बैक, ठीक है? अब जब वो अमाउंट पे बैक करेगा, दैट अमाउंट विल बी पेड बैक टू डायरेक्ट कैपिटल, द 100% अमाउंट. At this point of time, हम अपने charges deduct करते हैं on this entire transaction, and the balance 20% जितना हमें देना है, we settle that back with the Indian supplier. This is the whole process. This is completely off balance sheet. ये कहीं पे भी as a debt record नहीं होता आपके books में. And secondly, हम इसको बोलते हैं use and pay facility. What do I exactly mean by that? ठीक है, very interesting thing. If you notice the arrowheads between 4 and 5, right? स्टार्ट से लेके एंड तक मैंने कुछ भी आपको अपफ्रंट चार्ज नहीं किया है, नॉट इवन अ सिंगल प्रोसेसिंग फीस, मतलब 1 रुपया भी आपको शुरू में नहीं देना है, एवरीथिंग एट द वेरी लास्ट स्टेप, राइट? तो ऐसा नहीं है कि मैंने प्रोसेसिंग फीस जमा कर लिया एंड लास्ट में आई एम लाइक सर मजा नहीं आया, सो नथिंग लाइक दैट, एवरीथिंग इज हैपनिंग एट द वेरी एंड, दैट इज व्हाई आई कॉल इट अ यूज एंड पे फैसिलिटी, राइट? तो अब जो ये सर्विस हम प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं, इसके सेलिएंट फीचर्स क्या है, व्हाट आर द यूएसपीज ऑफ दिस, राइट? I think यहाँ पे एक क्वेरी भी आया था थोड़ी देर पहले कि collateral लेते हो कि नहीं. So just banks are not able to do that probably because of their own you can say strict measures or whatever it is. But what we are doing is completely collateral free. Not any kind of land, no paper, no machinery, nothing like that. Okay. And what we are providing is a credit limit of up to 2.5 million USD. तो अगर आप इसको INR में कन्वर्ट करेंगे तो दिस विल कम समथिंग अराउंड 18 to 20 CR INR, राइट? दैट इज द टोटल एक्सपोजर जो हम आपके ऊपर ले सकते हैं एट अ गिवन पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, राइट? अब प्राइसिंग की बात करते हैं. प्राइसिंग अगर आप इंडिया में हो, आपको भी पता है सिक्योर्ड अनसिक्योर्ड फंडिंग की टोटल प्राइसिंग में जमीन आसमान का फर्क है, राइट? we are providing unsecured funding to you at around 8 to 10% per annum, which is never heard before, right? Unsecured funding आपको भी पता होगा 15, 18, 20 तक जाता है, and the list just goes on and on, right? So we are doing it in very small rate, right? And since everyone has been speaking about technology, and as I mentioned, हम भी technology का use कर रहे हैं, so the whole process, right from आपकी first inquiry जब आती है till the final disbursement, everything is digital. तो when I say 2-minute online application, मुझे सिर्फ आपका लगता है import export code आपकी IC, वो देख के I can tell everything about you कि आप कितने shipments कहाँ क्या कर रहे हो, and I can set up a credit limit for you, right? And since technology का use हो रहा है तो paperwork का तो paperwork has to be replaced, right? We are all tired of paperwork. ठीक है, तो paperwork completely इसमें निकल जाती है. We will be taking everything in a soft copy, right? And हर एक जो भी documents है आपको एक digital dashboard वगैरह provide किया जाएगा. So the whole medium is digital, nothing paper based, right? Automated risk assessment. अब risk assessment banks कैसे करती है? They take up your shop statements, your audited financials, a lot of again paperwork, right? So again, we don't want to burden our suppliers with paperwork. The process will be very simple. You give us everything in a digital medium. We have our own methods of assessment, and हम आपका evaluation करके आपको बताएंगे कि आपको कितना दे सकते हैं. Okay. So now banks से हम क्या different कर रहे हैं, right? Banks भी, all of the banks are doing the same thing. Export funding, export factoring जिसको बोलते हैं. But हम इनसे अलग कैसे हैं? तो बैंक्स का कैसा होता है, दे आर यूजुअली फोकसिंग ऑन द ग्रीन कस्टमर्स. व्हेन आई से ग्रीन कस्टमर्स, उनका टारगेट ऑडियंस होता है कस्टमर्स जिनका टर्नओवर है अराउंड 50 CR to 100 CR, राइट? तो दैट इज नॉट आवर टारगेट ऑडियंस. हम एम कर रहे हैं कि हम छोटे बिजनेसेस को ग्रो करने में हेल्प करें. तो आप देखोगे तो वी आर जस्ट आस्किंग फॉर एन एनुअल एक्सपोर्ट टर्नओवर ऑफ 1.5 CR, जो यूएसडी टर्म्स में आएगा 200K, राइट? The onboarding process, somebody earlier was talking about how turnaround time is very crucial. I think IndusInd Bank के सर जी भी बोल रहे थे कि working capital का टैग कम करना है. Probably time आएगा जब ये 4-5 दिन में हो सकेगा, right? वो time आ गया है. We are doing it in less than a week. Okay, so the whole process digital medium से we can do it within a week, right? Again, underwriting process completely digital. We are not taking any kind of hard copies as I mentioned earlier, and I think this is getting repeated again. No collateral requirement of any kind. And financing, as I mentioned again, digital dashboard के medium से हम पूरा आपको without a paper based process करेंगे, through everything through the digital dashboard, right? अब evaluation criteria की बात करते हैं. How are we doing it? Usually banks, जैसे मैंने बताया, they are taking all your financial documents etc. First time transaction support नहीं कर सकते, आपको past history create करना पड़ेगा with your buyer. हमारे केस में ऐसा नहीं है. We know where the buyers are located, how they are, what is their financial status etc. हम buyers evaluate करेंगे आपके हिसाब से, and we will let you know कि ये buyer हम कर सकते हैं कि नहीं. So basically हमारे लिए buyer ज़्यादा important है rather than the supplier when we do this whole process. Okay, तो अब eligibility, when I talk about eligibility, हम कैसे kind of customers ढूंढ रहे हैं exactly, right? तो we are looking for customers turnover wise, जैसे मैंने बताया 1.5 crore is good enough for us. 200K, we want to help these businesses grow as high as 100 CR, right? अब when I say again number of transactions, तो every exporter closes his BRC, right? जो bank realization certificate होती है वो close करानी पड़ती है, right? तो हम यही बोल रहे हैं कि आप पिछले 12 महीने में सिर्फ 2 BRC close करा दीजिए. We understand there is a lot of delay from the shipping, from that process. तो ये पूरी process delay से चल रही है, but we just want 2 BRC closures आपके पूरे एक साल में. That's good enough, right? अब next question आएगा कि आप कौन से countries के साथ क्या काम करोगे, right? तो we are a US based company, so the number of countries मैं ये बताऊंगा कि हम क्या नहीं कर सकते, right? We can do pretty much everything. Okay, तो क्या नहीं कर सकते? We cannot do Russia. I think nobody even wants to work with Russia, Ukraine after what is happening, and Sudan, Somalia, and all of these very highly risky countries, जिसको sanctioned countries बोलते हैं, अफगानिस्तान वगैरह, right? Approved countries में हमारे क्या आता है? Obviously US, UK, China, all of the other markets, Middle East. We can even go to the length of doing your Latin America and Africa, जहाँ पे कोई नहीं करता है. मतलब nobody is willing to take that risk in these regions. We are willing to do that. Right? Product categories में हम क्या कर सकते हैं? We are only not doing just 3 basic items. हम जो perishables हैं, जिनकी shelf life less than 6 months होते हैं, we are not doing that. We are not doing gems and jewelry, and we are not doing your granite and marble. Basic reasons है इसके पीछे. Fresh fruits and vegetables, I'm sure you all understand, considered perishables, so condition totally different होगा. When they reach and the buyer won't accept, it will be a very different situation. And marble and granite again काफी fragile होते हैं, तो breakage होता है during transit, so because of these reasons, right? So customer onboarding process, how does this exactly look like, right? Exporter हमारे website पे आता है, हमारे portal पे आता है. All he needs to fill in is his basic detail. And I say basic detail, just 3-4 चीजें हम पूछते हैं. आपका नाम, आपका IC and क्या प्रोडक्ट आप एक्सपोर्ट करते हो. That's it. आप इतने डिटेल्स हमारे पास शेयर कीजिए, हम आपको एग्जैक्ट बताएंगे हम आपको क्या प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं, कब प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं, एंड ऑल दैट 24 घंटा मैंने लिखा है जस्ट फॉर मतलब कीपिंग इट ऑन डॉक्यूमेंट, बट वी कैन डू ऑल ऑफ दिस इज इन एन आवर. दैट इज हाउ टेक फ्रेंडली वी हैव आवर डैशबोर्ड्स इक्विप्ड, राइट? अब आते हैं पूरे असेसमेंट की बात. हमारा प्रोसेस असेसमेंट इज एंटायरली ऑटोमेटिक. आपको जस्ट 3-4 डॉक्यूमेंट्स हमें देने पड़ते हैं, जो मतलब बेसिक, वो भी आप सॉफ्ट कॉपीज हमें दे सकते हो. दैट विल जस्ट बी योर बेसिक KYC, योर जस्ट योर फाइनेंशियल्स, एंड आप कौन से बायर के साथ काम करते हो. वी वुड लाइक टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट, बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली द मनी इज गोइंग टू कम बैक फ्रॉम द बायर, राइट? एंड अग्रीमेंट साइनिंग की बात करते हैं. अगेन उसमें भी मतलब 18-20 पेज का हार्ड कॉपी इधर उधर घूम रहा है कुरियर में. वी डोंट वांट दैट हैपनिंग, ठीक है? अगेन दैट इज आल्सो कंप्लीटली डिजिटल. हम आपको एक ई-साइन का लिंक दे देंगे, आप वो साइन कीजिए अपने कन्वीनियंस पे एंड डायरेक्टली शेयर इट अक्रॉस टू अस थ्रू अडोब PDF. डायरेक्टली जो ई-साइन होता है डिजिटल वे से, वो हमारे पास रिसीव हो जाएगा, राइट? जैसे ये खत्म होता है, यू गेट एक्सेस टू आवर डिजिटल पोर्टल, एंड वो पोर्टल यूज करके यू कैन गेट एक्सेस टू आवर फंडिंग, राइट? मैं पोर्टल की बात कर रहा हूँ. दिस इज हाउ द पोर्टल एग्जैक्टली लुक्स लाइक, राइट? तो आप इस पे देख पा रहे हैं कि एन एक्सपोर्टर, मतलब उसको एक कॉल नहीं करनी पड़ रही है कोई आलम को या कोई किसी को. He is able to find out all of the details just एक क्लिक पे. 14 इनवॉइसेस पेंडिंग, 28 इनवॉइसेस उनके आउटस्टैंडिंग है, 232 इनवॉइसेस सेटल्ड. ये सारा चीज उनको एक क्लिक पे समझ में आ रहा है कि उनका एग्जैक्ट स्टेटस क्या चल रहा है फिलहाल बिजनेस का, राइट? ठीक है. We come to how the export segment is growing in India and how DRIP is also growing along with it, right? तो typically हम पिछले 3 साल का ट्रेंड देख रहे हैं. इंडियन एक्सपोर्ट्स बहुत फास्ट ग्रो कर रही है. आप लोग भी, आई थिंक यू ऑल आर पार्ट ऑफ इट, आप लोग रिलेट कर पाओगे. गवर्नमेंट सब्सिडीज एंड ओवरऑल ग्रेट डिमांड ओवरसीज, तो फास्ट पेस पे ग्रोथ हो रही है, राइट? इन दैट उसमें भी जो SME MSME segment, that has been growing at around a pace of 7.5%, right? But the customers, the suppliers who are working with us, particularly from this industry, they are growing at a CAGR of around 30%. And ये क्यों हो रहा है? Because हम उनको फर्स्ट डे पे उनके ट्रांजैक्शंस फुलफिल करके दे सकते हैं. They are getting a limit of close to around 18 CR, that too in a completely collateral free manner, and everything is digital. तो जैसे अगर एक हफ्ते में इनका ट्रांजैक्शन क्लियर कर पा रहा है, तो द डायरेक्टर और CFO जो भी है बिजनेस का, he does not have to worry about his money collections. मतलब बायर पैसा कब देगा, collections also is our responsibility. So he can put his focus in sourcing new orders and growing his business, and not about when the money is going to come back. Leave that to the experts, leave that to DRIP Capital, right? This is how active we have been in the news. This is our CEO, Mr. Pushkar. So he is a part of the trade ecosystem, and काफी जो economic times वगैरह जो भी events होते हैं उस पे वो काफी active रहते हैं, right? So we have raised a lot of funding and we have been doing this for a long time. हम US and Mexico में भी काफी active है. There we are doing a set of other products as well, like supply chain and free shipment finance, etc. Right? And I was telling you about the cities that we are active in. These are the total number of cities that we work with. हमारा pan India presence है. We have sales teams located across all the different cities. You name the city and we have a person there who's ready to visit on a very short notice, right? So all of the major markets we are able to cover in a very seamless manner, right? अब कौन से segments हम cover कर सकते हैं? These are all the segments we are very active in. कोविड के बाद की बात करते हैं, आपको पता होगा एग्री कमोडिटीज इज डूइंग रियली वेरी वेल. ये सेगमेंट बहुत ज्यादा ग्रो हो रही है. इवन टेक्सटाइल्स आई थिंक थोड़ा सा डिप हुआ था, बट नाउ अगेन द डिमांड हैज पिक्ड अप. मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, VASAI is a manufacturing hub, everyone has been speaking. स्टील वगैरह काफी यहाँ से जाता है. So we have we have a lot of customers in this segment as well, right? Frozen foods वगैरह. तो हम सारे ये segments में सारे transactions easily cater कर सकते हैं for all of the payment terms for up to maximum 120 days. तो आपका 120 दिन तक कोई भी अगर इनवॉइस हुआ जिसमें क्रेडिट पीरियड एप्लीकेबल है, we will be able to cover that on open account terms, DA terms, DP terms, and even cash against documents. जहाँ पे चाइना वगैरह में ये काफी यूज होता है. आई थिंक एक्सपोर्टर्स विल बी एबल टू रिलेट टू दैट. तो ये सारे पेमेंट टर्म्स हम आपको कवर कर देंगे वेरी इजीली. And in the past 8 to 9 months, we have even started catering to the services segment. So, if there is some IT company, if there is some consultancy firm, to any kind of manpower वगैरह provide कर रहे हैं to a US company or any buyer overseas, we will be able to cover that as well. So we have started the services segment. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, we have India and US, we have presence. Along with that, we have offices in Dubai and Mexico as well, right? On a closing note, what I would like to say is, I think I would like to reiterate from what I was telling earlier. 2 साल से everyone has seen very difficult times, but इंडिया में काफी डिमांड है. एज आई मेंशन्ड अर्लियर, हमने 400 बिलियन का हिस्टोरिक फिगर टच किया इन मार्च. वी डिड इट ड्यूरिंग कोविड. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि वी आर नॉट ग्रोइंग. वी आर ग्रोइंग. आई थिंक राइट डायरेक्शन इसमें अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा. एंड एक नया विजन हमारे नितिन गडकरी सर देख रहे हैं दैट 2025 तक हम कंट्रीब्यूट करें 40% टू द जीडीपी. एंड आई थिंक दैट इज पॉसिबल. ये डेफिनेटली हो पाएगा. 2 चीजें इसमें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रहेंगी. एक होता है टेक्नोलॉजी. अगर टेक्नोलॉजी प्रॉपर यूज किया जाए तो दिस विल डेफिनेटली हैपन. एंड सेकंड होता है एक्सेस टू क्रेडिट. सो वी आर फुलफिलिंग बोथ ऑफ दीज. एंड या दैट्स अबाउट इट. आई थिंक वंस this whole trade ecosystem grows, I think we all grow along with it. So yeah, thank you so much. Any questions?
The buyer doesn't pay, what do you do? Like your trade, one don't is your responsibility.
Main question, yeah.
If someone has a Binami company abroad,
Correct.
they export from here.
Correct. Very good question, very valid question. ये काफी बार होता है. हम देखते हैं कि buyers ऐसे एक एड्रेस वगैरह दे देते हैं, WhatsApp पे PO आती है, right?
Their own dummy company they will keep.
Correct. ये काफी होता है शेल कंपनीज वगैरह एस्टैब्लिश करके. So हमारे टाई-अप्स है with a couple of insurance players as well, right? तो वो हमें पहले से ही एनालाइज करके बताते हैं कि ये कंपनी क्या है. अगर कोई लेस है, अभी समझ लीजिए कोई दुबई की शेल कंपनी है which somebody is trying to export against, हम आपको वही स्टेप पे बता देंगे कि सर हमें ये इन्फॉर्मेशन मिली है ये कंपनी के अगेंस्ट. मैं आपको भी सजेस्ट करूंगा कि आप इनके साथ काम मत कीजिए. मतलब हमारे थ्रू नहीं कर रहे हो तो ठीक है, बट आप भी काम मत कीजिए. आपका पैसा.
लीगल रिस्पांसिबिलिटी किसका, आपका है कि एक्सपोर्टर का है?
सर तो इसमें 2 चीजें आ जाती है. आई एक्सप्लेन इट टू यू बोथ वेज, राइट? तो हमारा 2 टाइप का फंडिंग होता है. एक है विद इंश्योरेंस और एक होता है विदाउट. ठीक है, अगर इसमें इंश्योरेंस कवर आ जाती है, ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे द रिस्पांसिबिलिटी विल बी आवर्स. तो हम उस पे इंश्योरेंस फाइल क्लेम करके आपका पैसा रिकवर करके आपको वापस दे देंगे, राइट? बट लेट्स से एक ऐसा सिचुएशन आ गया जहाँ पे आपने कुछ भेजा माल, ओके, बट बायर ने वो एक्सेप्ट ही नहीं किया बिकॉज ऑफ XYZ रीजंस. ठीक है, रीजंस कुछ भी हो सकते हैं. जैसे अगर टेक्सटाइल जा रहा है तो कलर मैच नहीं हुआ, वो एक्सेप्ट नहीं करेगा. सिंपल एज दैट. अगर ये होता है देन obviously the buyer is not accepting. हम भी liable नहीं होते because वो कलर मिसमैच हो गया, right? तो यहाँ पे then we will come back to you and हम एनालाइज करेंगे कि ये पूरे सिचुएशन को सॉल्व कैसे करें.
This is only for exports or also you are financing for imports also?
Not currently. We have not developed a product live for imports currently. I think in the next 3 to 6 months we would have a product live for that. I think that will be the best time we can get in touch.
But domestic business you are not doing. Domestic business.
No, domestic के लिए नहीं कर रहे. Right now it is pure exports, export factor.
So one question here, since the payment is coming to you and you will be giving to the exporter,
correct?
Who will be generating the PRs, the FIRs?
हाँ, तो इसमें कैसा होता है ना, so see I'll tell you basically how the process works, right? अब जैसे ये पूरा प्रोसेस मैंने आपको समझाया, इसमें 2 तरह के ट्रांजैक्शंस हो रहे हैं. फर्स्ट ट्रांजैक्शन वो जब मैं आपको 80% दे रहा हूँ. सेकंड ट्रांजैक्शन वो जब आपका 20% मैं आपको वापस कर रहा हूँ. ठीक है, तो ये पूरे प्रोसेस में मैं आपको 2 स्विफ्ट कॉपी शेयर करूंगा. ठीक है, ये स्विफ्ट कॉपी पे आपके पीओ, आपके इनवॉइस, आपके शिपिंग बिल, बीएल के सारे डिटेल्स मेंशन्ड होंगे. ठीक है, एंड पूरा ट्रांजैक्शन ये होगा. आपका बैंकर आल्सो विल बी एबल टू आइडेंटिफाई कि कहां से क्या हो रही है एंड आपकी बीआरसी वहां से क्लोज हो जाती है. ठीक है, दिस इज एज पर द आरबीआई मैंडेट. पर्पस कोड्स मेंशन्ड होते हैं पूरे ट्रांजैक्शन पे.
The transfer was done to your account, right?
Sorry?
The customer has transferred the money to your account.
Correct.
So how will it show that it has come to our account?
Yeah, so जैसे ठीक है, let's go to the second part of that solution, right? 20% मुझे आपको वापस करना है जो मुझे आया हुआ है, right? इसमें अब क्या होगा, मैं आपको 20% भेज दूंगा. आपको मैं एक स्विफ्ट कॉपी भेजूंगा जिसमें आरबीआई के मैंडेटेड कोड्स मेंशन्ड होंगे. ओके, अब ये कोड जैसे आपका बैंकर देखता है, ठीक है, he is able to identify कि ये फैक्टरिंग ट्रांजैक्शन क्लोज हो रही है. These codes are P101 and P103. ये आरबीआई के मेंशन्ड कोड्स है, मैंडेटेड कोड्स है. ये जैसे ही आरबीआई आपके बैंकर के पास आता है, he is able to identify कि ये transaction close हो रहा है factoring का, इन्होंने जो advance लिया था that is closing, ठीक है, वहाँ से आपका closure होता है आपके पूरे transaction का.
Yeah, but as far as my experience goes, the banker looks at what name comes in the statement. The statement will come, the name will come as the capital.
Correct. So that's what I'm saying. जो आपका Swift copy होगा, मैं आपको like after this you can also come down to our booth. I'll exactly show you how that statement looks like. But वो statement पे all of the details will be mentioned. Let's say आप दुबई के buyer के साथ काम कर रहे हो XYZ Limited, ठीक है? तो इसमें पूरा mentioned होगा कि आपने इसको इतना का माल बेचा. This was the total amount. Factoring का ये इतना था. This was the purpose code that was applicable here. तो ये सारे details इसमें mentioned होते हैं along with the Swift copy. So this is how this whole factoring process works. आपका banker ही identify कर लेता है और close कर देता है.
Okay, ठीक है. Experience करेगा भी पता चलेगा.
हाँ, I'll also share a sample of draft of that with you. आप एक बार you can also get in touch with me or my colleagues after. We have a booth there.
Do you consider new exporters also?
Not currently. What we are looking for is just exporter start करके let him have a turnover of 1.5 CR in exports and we can then cater to him.
So do you do lead generation also in this through website?
You mean to say generating exporter leads, is it? Yeah. So yeah, I mean we have our own marketing team. We have tied up with several agencies that develop marketing leads for us, typically for exports. So if you have any proposition that we can look into, I'm more than happy to look into it.
Yeah. Now these are export transactions. So there are two foreign exchange involved.
Sure.
One at the beginning of it and then at the end. Who manages the hedge, the risk, and what rate will you settle them?
Correct. So that's a very valid question. So what we do is that we are doing the whole lending in USD, in foreign currency. Okay? अगर $1,000 उस पे लिखा है, मैं आपको $1,000 ही दूंगा, ठीक है? वो जो भी रेट होगा ये वो, you can actually settle with your banker. You can probably contact a forex guy. You can also have your bank involved in this. But we will be exactly funding you whatever is mentioned on the invoice. So basically, the crux of it, hedging will be your responsibility. We don't actually get into that. And we can also support your euro, any currency, not just USD. An example USD का लिया, आपका dirhams होगा, GBP, pound, euro, जो भी होगा हम आपको वही currency में fund करेंगे.
So we will get the foreign currency.
Yeah.
Mr. Nikit,
yeah.
You said that you will refund the 20%. So how will you gain?
Yeah, so when I am returning back the 20%, I will deduct the charges at that point of time. So that's a USP, it's use and pay. अब use कीजिए, at the end you pay for that. Right? Any other questions?
How much does it work out? Depending on, say, the cycle of 120 days.
What is the discount?
Yeah, so our pricing is actually based on the turnover. If I have to give you a range, it's 8 to 10% all inclusive. There are no hidden charges. And the earlier part where I was also talking about insurance, तो वो भी उसमें cover हो जाता है. If the insurance is received on the buyer, so 8 to 10% में everything is included.
8 to 10% per annum basis
per
or a transaction?
No, per annum basis. तो वो transaction पे जितना भी आपका, let's say 90 days का cycle है, 90 days पे जितना applicable होगा, pro rata basis, correct. तो उतना applicable we will be deducting.
Seems reasonable.
Any other questions? I think I saw.
What can it 10%?
हेलो
यस
इंपोर्ट मेटल या प्लास्टिक के लिए भी सेम प्रोसेस है
हाँ प्रोसेस बीट कोई भी कमोडिटी हो प्रोसेस पूरा सेम ही रहेगा ओके बट आपने इंपोर्ट बताया राइट तो इंपोर्ट के लिए सर एज आई वाज टॉकिंग अर्लियर वी डोंट हैव अ प्रोडक्ट लाइन आई थिंक इन द नेक्स्ट 3 to 4 months हमारी भी R&D एंड बैकिंग टीम इस पे काम कर रही है हियर द फाइनल डिस्कशंस अबाउट द लाइसेंसेस एंड एवरीथिंग सो जैसे ही होता है आई थिंक वी डेफिनेटली गेट इन टच एंड काम कर सकते हैं साथ में
थैंक यू
so much any other questions okay thank you so much
thank you next speaker is Mr. Shyam Sharma he is the CMD Samkrit Global Inspection Services Private Limited he is talking about the licensing and certification requirement for the SMEs
good evening everyone so everybody is awake
yes
जो टॉपिक मुझे दिया गया है जो मैं टॉपिक डिस्कशन कर रहा हूँ आई थिंक इट इज वन ऑफ द इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक आई फील दैट बिकॉज ऑफ माय 18 years of journey in this licensing and certification, whatever the experience I've gained, I am trying to give you the input. अभी हम काफी सारे लोगों को सुना हमने, but before that I would like to thank SME Chamber, especially Mr. Mahesh Kumar and Chandrakant Salukya ji नहीं है अभी, but उनको भी thank you for giving me this opportunity. What we have seen that Bhumi Bird ने हमें एक इंडस्ट्री पार्क दे दिया and बैंक ने हमें finance दे दिया, हमने मशीनरी लगा ली and we got the business also. But जो प्रॉब्लम हमें फेस करनी पड़ती है during the initial when we are starting our company is about the regulatory licenses. There are the regulatory licenses which are applicable to the industry. Without that, you cannot think of the business also, even if you have everything in place. So I am going to talk about those regulatory licenses which is required for the industry with the case studies. I would also like to talk about the certification requirement, which is not a mandatory requirement, it's a voluntary requirement, but many of the industry where you are working, everybody wants to do the business with the big corporates. And when you are doing a business with the big corporates or you are doing export, you need a certifications. And what are those certifications which you need at the time of doing business with them, which I am going to explain to you. But before that, I would like to give you the brief input about my company. That who am I? Okay, we are basically a Shamfish group as a company. We are present in more than 6 continents out of 7. We are also the member of CQI and IRCA, which is basically the regulatory bodies for internal audits and certifications. We are the member of National Safety Councils and Quality Council of India, and definitely we are also the member of SME Chamber of India. As a strength, we have a team of technical experts, almost 40, and we are operational in almost all the metro cities in India. So now I would like to show some licenses. I think you might be aware about few of the licenses. If you are doing a food related industry, you have seen this FSSAI, the logo is there. The MSME, because we are already doing this SME chamber, so we are talking about MSME. So MSME is an important registration we are doing. Then we do FTA, NSIC. NSIC is again I will say not as a certification, but a scheme by Government of India by which you can do the government tendering and you do not need to fill the EMD at that time. If you are doing a business of a drug, you have to fulfill the food and drug licenses. Similarly, ECMAR, GMP, APEDA, these are the licenses. Few more licenses like Pollution Control Board, GEM. If you are doing a government business, again you want to be registered in GEM. WHO GMP, if you want to do the export, especially in USA, you look into this license. Make in India. Many of the people are using the logo of Make in India, so you need a permission from Make in India to put the logo there. And there is a National Skill Development Corporation if you are in the service industry. These are few industry specific licenses which I will talk about this. If you are in a hospital sector, you are looking for an NABH. If you are in an IT and development companies, you are looking for CMM level 3. Then Henkel was talking about that we have a lab and NABL approved. So if you are running a lab or doing a testing and other industry, you need NABL accreditation. If you are doing a automobile industry, you need a IATF 16949. If you are doing a telecommunication, you are looking for 9000 TL 9000. If you are doing aerospace, if you are supplying a material to aerospace, you are looking for AS 9000. BSCI, S8000 RAP, these are the social certification. If you are supplying to any big corporate and they are looking that you are a worker incentive company and you want to comply those requirements, you have to fulfill this BSCI, SATX and all. If you are in a food industry, you have to look into kosher certification, halal certification. You are supplying to the country called Jewish countries, the requirement is kosher. And if you are supplying to the Muslim countries, you are looking for halal certification. If you are looking for a FSC certification is for the product which is coming from forest. So anything which is you are in a printing or wooden furniture, you are looking for FSC certification. And if you are supplying to the petroleum industry, you are looking for API. Now these few are called a product license. Because if your product falls under this particular requirement, you have to fulfill, otherwise you cannot do the business. Drip capital can give you the export discounting, but if you do not have a license, who is going to purchase it? So basically, ISI mark is an Indian requirement, C is for Europe, UL is for America, ROHS is again a Europe requirement for plastic and chemical related products, CSA is a Canadian requirement, and FCC is a US based requirement. So now we understand what is licenses and what is certification. So I try to explain to you that why it is required and what are the things we need to do it. So if you look into a license, if it is a regulatory license, whether it is a food license or whether it is a factory license or pollution, it is a mandatory requirement. Without that, you cannot start your business. So to start a business, the license requirement is a mandatory thing. And if you are looking for a certification, any ISO certification or any customer compliance, it is not a mandatory requirement. It is a voluntary. It is required by the industry. So if you want to do a business with that particular industry, you have to fulfill that requirement, otherwise it is a voluntary requirement. If you look into a licensing part, there are penalties if you are not complying. Suppose if you have taken an FSSAI license and if you are not doing an annual return, or a pollution license, you are not doing an annual return, or if you are doing a LMPC, which is a legal methodology for packaging commodities, and you are not fulfilling the packaging guidelines for that thing, so huge penalties are there. But if you are not doing an ISO certification, there is no penalties. Nobody is bothered. So there is no penalty, only business losses are there, because you want to do a business with big companies, but you are not able to do because of this license or certification you don't have. So few licenses which is having a one-time requirement, the majority of the companies would like to go for this, is called legal methodology for packaging commodity. If you are doing any packaging commodity product, you should have this license, otherwise huge penalties are there in compounding. If you are doing export, IEC is the one of the important thing which you have to do it. MSME, which is Udyam registration nowadays. So these are the license one-time requirement. You don't need to do again and again. All ISO certification are mainly issued for 3 years. Any certification schemes are usually issued for 3 years with a yearly audit kind of thing. Majority of the license need renewal and yearly compliances. All the licenses, regulatory license, you need a license and a yearly compliances also. Without that, you cannot maintain those licensing. And it is a major pain of the manufacturing industry, because they have taken the license and after that they are not maintained, and finally they jump into the penalties issued by the government officials. Industry certification have a cycle 1 year to 5 years. Few certification which come for 1 year also, like FSC certification or a BRC kind of thing. So now I am having one case study which is like a manufacturing of food products. One of the company who wants to do the food industry, like they are in the packaging, drinking water or beverages or a processed food or ready to eat food. So what licenses they usually look for? If you want to start the business, probably you should look for a factory license, pollution license, a fire NOC, legal methodology because you are selling a packaged product, FSSAI because it's a food related product, definitely you look at FSSAI license. And few of the products, like especially when I talk about packaged drinking water, you need a ISI mark, and since you are creating a brand, you need a trademark also. So these are the few licenses when you are looking for a food industry. Now what certification can we go for a food industry? You can go for ISO 9000, 14000, 45,000. So 14,000 is environmental, 9,000 is a quality management, 45,000 is a occupational health safety, ISO 22,000 which is typically a food industry certification, BRC, this certificate is basically a compliance to the European or US requirement, FSSC 22,000, HACCP and GMP. So these all are like certification can be taken for the food industry sector. Now few more you can take food industry if you are supplying to the big corporate, like suppose if you are manufacturing a maida and supplying it to the McDonald's. So they looking for the licensing and certification, but they also look for whether you are socially compliant or not. So they look for SEDEX, they look for US FDA, they look for IPMAC or FEDA kind of thing. Now I am talking about a second, which is the engineering industry, like automotive, lifting, bearings, manufacturing of ovens, valves, machine tools. Now I think in VASAI majority of the industries are like this also. Again, the factory license, pollution, fire NOC, LMPC are few of the common licenses are there. But if you are dealing in a chemical industry or something where you are keeping the most hazardous material there, you need a PESO license. And many of the product like toys nowadays is mandatory ISI mark. Okay, if you are looking for LED lights, you need a BIS registration. Okay, and if you are doing anything in steel related product, you again need a ISI mark. So it's a mandatory requirement. Earlier days पहले ऐसा था कि हमारे को इस प्रोडक्ट में जरूरत नहीं पड़ती थी, ना इंपोर्ट करने के लिए पड़ रही थी, ना मैन्युफैक्चर करने के, बट अभी रिक्वायरमेंट आ गया है. गवर्नमेंट हैज गिवन अ गैजेट in especially if you look into toys industry. Nowadays, medical line also you have a requirement for medical device manufacturing license which is issued by CDSU. So all these licenses are there. Again, trademark is there. Again, the certification are common, but few of the additional certification which you need for engineering industry is C mark if you want to export to Europe, UL for America, CSA for Canada, and SEBER for this Middle East country, and GoStar for Russia. So these are the different licenses. Now this is the third case studies which I am talking specifically for the IT based industry. I am not sure whether VASAI is having this IT industry, but still if you have like anything in software development, application development, finance, banking, technology and marketing, you need a license which is basically a SOP Act, which is Gumasta in Maharashtra we say. You need a DOT license which is Department of Telecommunication ISP, and a trademark. This is the only licenses you require when you are running this business. But there are multiple certifications because data orientation is there, because you are keeping the data of the people or the employees or the customers. So you need a ISO 9000, 14000, 45000, especially 27000 which is the information security management system. 22301 is a risk management. 20000 is again an information technology management. 27701 is a privacy, and CMMI level is again a capability maturity model. L3 and L5 requirements are there. Few more certification which is called PCI DSS if you are in a payment card industry, and SOC 2 if you are a technological financial company. So you require all these things. Now I have given you lots many things. Something might not be applicable to you, but we as a company, we are partnered with the SME Chamber of India. We would like to give this knowledge what we are having to the SME Chamber members or the SME industries. So the primary two roles when you are doing a certification activity is a consulting and a certification. It's a right way to do the certification. So what we are doing in a consultancy? We are doing in a consultancy, we do the gap assessment of the certification requirement. We submit the project charter that okay, this is how we are going to happen it. We do the preparation of manuals, procedures, SOP, templates for control and monitoring as per the standard requirement. Whichever the standard you are requiring for your industry, we do that. We train the resources for implementation, conducting internal audits and management review of the compliances. We assist in during the external audit because all this certification is happen. It has to be done by the audit by the external agency like SGS, BBI, TUV, many bodies are there. We do the closure of non-conformity if any during the certification audit, and post-certification compliance assistance is also provided on the need basis. So this is a consulting period, but when you look into certification, how it is happen, receipt of application for certification, planning and conducting the stage 1 and stage 2 audit, submission of report to the board, issuance of certifications, conducting first year surveys. As I said, the certificate is issued majorly for 3 years. So every year there is an audit which is known as annual surveillances, and we ensure that renewal of certificate post completion of 3 years. There should not be delay in the certification activity of what we are fulfilling. Now the second thing which I talked about, which is called a license, regulatory licenses. So regulatory license, whatever the license you are looking, whether it is a factory, pollution, fire, whatever it is, the order is in this sense that we assist in identifying the requirements and preparation of application form. So what we do, we help you out in that if you are doing for this license, what is the application form you need to fulfill, what are the documents you are looking for, and how we can generate those documents. Submission of application form to requisites department we submit, because all these are the government departments, we submit it to them. Following up for processing the application. So we follow with particular department, we have a very good understanding with the department, we follow with them. Ensuring the inspection are planned. If any license, because majority of the license now are faceless, or some of the licenses are only fulfilling with the inspection. So if there is inspection, we ensure that inspections are planned. We also liaise with the department to ensure the inspections are completed smoothly and the same is clear. And finally, the license and follow up with the department to ensure the license is granted. So what is happening in our case, when a customer or in SME comes to us, we help them in right from guidance to ensure that they will get the license, and maintain of that license is also our responsibility. So as we have done majority of the customers, so these are the few glimpses of our customers which are national clients, former, these all are our clients, international clients also we deal. So why to select SMEs? You can select anyone, but why you are going to select us? Because we have a start to end solution. When we are taking the services from any of our SMEs, we help them from not only just guiding at the initial stage, but till the licensing cycle completed and renewing ongoing process. We also do the process improvement by writing the SOPs as per customer process, inline the process for each input and output. All services are single window. As I what I have given it to you as a services in licensing and certification, it is a single window you can get into the requirement. We have an industry expert team which visit at your place, and we have an experience of cross-border more than 30 countries. So those who are exporting to the different countries, we can help them in guiding to identifying the requirements. Suppose you want to sell the product in China or a UAE or European Union, we don't know what are the license requirements. We help you out in guiding those requirements. We have a more than 5,000 satisfied customers across different standards. And usually we say whenever you are listening license and certification, we are always there to help you out as an SME. We are knowledge partner to you. So if there is any question answers, you can ask me. But before that, I would like to say during the COVID and because of my experience in more than 17 years or 18 years in the industry, we have created a specific website which is known as licenseinindia.com and certificationindia.com. You can visit there and you can identify your own certification license which is applicable to your industry. So that is what I would like to convey the message from my side. If you have any question answer session, please ask me the question. Else we are thank you. Any questions?
As Mr. Rudra explained that we have a trademark, like a country have a trademark, like trading with some other countries. But to avail that benefits from the custom duties, so you have to, like, if you are exporting, you have to generate a origin, like country of origin. So earlier, custom used to like provide that certificate, but from last couple of some years they stopped. And they need some registration, like we have to register somewhere and we have to raise a origin of country. That certificate we have to raise and we have to give the customer. So that kind of registration do you provide?
Yeah, we provide that. If it's like suppose if you are doing a medical device or a pharma product or any other, some country of origin or this kind of certificate issued from the government itself according to the industry, or some are issued by a chamber of commerce. So we help them get it.
Okay, I need that. So
okay, you can connect me.
So your address, like?
Huh? You want my address?
We will share the address with you.
Okay, any other questions you have?
Hello.
Yeah.
Do you do the NSF license also? National Science Foundation?
Yeah, NSF is again a certification body and they issue many licenses, so we help them in getting into those records.
Sir, could you please tell me what is the application fee for NSF?
So this we can discuss based on, because the identification of fees and the certification and the consultancy is based on the industry requirements. We have to know the product, we have to know the service, we have to know the details, then we can able to give you the proposals. Yeah.
सर आप सोन कैप सर्टिफिकेट इशू कर रहे हैं, स्पेशली जो एक्सपोर्ट नाइजीरिया के लिए करते हैं उनके सोन कैप
See, this certification as of today I have not done it, but I can identify with our partners and we can work it out that for you also. Yeah.
सर मुझे पैसों के लिए कुछ रिक्वायरमेंट्स है.
पैसों का हाँ तो we can help you.
We can help you.
100% there is absolutely no issue. Any other? So my details are with SME. I am here also. You can connect with me and we can work it out. Thank you.
Now I would like to invite Mr. Vivek Katamka. He is the co-founder and CEO of Promo Digital LLP, and he is going to talk on how digital marketing will help you to grow your business.
Good evening, everyone. The director is setting up the presentation. I'll introduce myself. My name is Vivek Kadaruka. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Promodome Digital. Promodome Digital is a digital marketing and an advertising company. Again, we are a part of an MSC. We have just started 2 years back, and 2 years back when we started, we were just 3 people when we started it. Currently, we have a service force of around more than 75 people in our organization. We are into B2B sectors, B2C sectors. We are also into government sectors wherein we work with multiple state governments. The topic which I have chosen here is how digital marketing will help you grow your business. Now, I understand everyone here is an entrepreneur, of course, and everyone either from a product base or a service base could be the two bifurcations. But digital marketing, or let's say digital is a very confined term. Let me go to just the word marketing. Marketing is a very important part for scaling up your business. You are present in one topography, you have your own set of clients, you have your sales team. We have earlier the marketing techniques were mostly ATL, BTL, used to have big hoardings, TV ads, flyers, but still understand even a hoarding can give you a confined audience. Let's say if a hoarding is somewhere near Bandra, so people passing, a portion of people who pass through Bandra or maybe live in the vicinity can actually see your ad. Over the last few years or maybe this decade, when we say like early 2000 was a dot-com bubble, this decade is a digital marketing bubble. And I wouldn't just call it a bubble because this is how a future would go like, because a lot of things are coming into cryptocurrencies, virtual realities, different kind of gaming or things wherein people are not physically very out or maybe social, but online they have a huge presence, and that's where we have to cater the market. Now, if I just talk about digital marketing here, any product, any service, a person who runs his business, I mean not just in Mumbai, maybe anywhere, might it be any tier 2, tier 3 city, maybe a rural area, could be any product, could be any brand. Now he's not confined to just his local areas, or he doesn't have to depend on wholesalers, retailers, or maybe a chain to actually make his brand. Through digital marketing, he can just be at his own comfort zone and he can sell his products online completely across the globe. Be it any brand. Most of you might be thinking that हमारे लिए तो नहीं है digital marketing. Maybe हमारे लिए इतना नहीं है. We are exporters or we are into manufacturing of such machines. हमारे fixed clients हैं. You don't really understand that there can be always a channel जो has to be open. COVID taught one thing कि अगर if you are dependent on just one revenue channel or just one sales channel, it is definitely going to stay. People who had, let's say, 100 channels, most of them closed during the COVID era. But still, they had many channels, so some were open. And that's where digital marketing comes into picture. I have a product that is vfly.com. That's my own in-house product that I started 2 years back. It's not something, what I'm trying to say, being a service-based company, that's again into YouTube promotions. We have a platform, a tech platform, wherein YouTubers across the globe, they come in, they put their YouTube channel who want to be famous, they spend some dollars, and they actually generate, traction. They advertise their video to the target audience. In every business, targeting is very important. Where you target, and we have been growing since last 2 years. If I just say 2 years back when we started, this is just through digital marketing. We don't have any offline channels. We don't have any offline sales for that particular product. Let's say we started 2 years back and we were doing a sales of around $3,000 to $4,000 a month. Last month we crossed around $100,000 in sales, and month on month we are doing that in just one product, VASAI.com, and that is completely on online marketing. What we do is we acquire customers online through advertisements. We retain customers online. We promote them online, and that is the reason everything has been done here. Now I have clients like majority of my clients in US, Canada, London. Name any country, there will be one of the buyers would be from there. We have around 12,000 buyers till date in VFly. But my team is just sitting in Andheri. They don't have to be present in US, London, Canada anytime. We've got our numbers, we've got an online account, we have got everything, and we are doing it. So that is the thing, that is the return on investment what an online method can teach you. There is no boundaries. There is no countries or boundaries you cannot explore. आपका product आपने add किया वो आपने let's say you are making a brand, someone is into the food industry, he is making any or maybe a cosmetic industry, he is making a face cream. Now he is exporting or he has wholesale clients, he is giving it to retailers. But उसमें क्या होता है? First your margin decreases because there is an entire supply chain. यहाँ पर what happens in the digital marketing era, if you have your own website wherein you have listed all your products, you spend your advertising budget and you target relevant people. Let's say I could see Neo, Growth or Kotak, Mahindra and Tata Delhi. Why do you think they have put banners यहाँ पर? Because they know यहाँ पर they have 200 SMEs owners. They have entrepreneurs. ये इनका target market है. I mean, same cheese they will not put it. Same cheese they will not put it in a school or maybe in a college when we say about business loans, because it's not about volume. So maybe in a college 1,000 people will see it, but none of them is relevant. No one will take a business loan in schools or college. But even a small market, but a relevant market is very important. That's where we have to position our brand, our products. Now one of our clients, I'll just give you an example. He is into cosmetics. He manufactures face creams, hair serums, vitamin C serums. From last 10 years, he was into the manufacturing. What he used to do is he used to manufacture the component, the lotion, and he used to sell it to companies like Lakme, companies like Sea Shadows and different things, and they used to just label their company and they used to sell it. He was into wholesale. He used to just make it and sell it. He just had 5 to 6 clients. What was the thing is, he had turnover, he had profits, but he didn't have any valuation. That was more into supply. What I advised him 2 years back when he started, that you make your own brand since you are already in the manufacturing area. He made his brand Garden Essentials. There's one more person within Mimi Naturals. Now from last 2 years, through their website, they have been doing, and in their own brand, that is main is you have a brand valuation called as Garden Essentials and called as Mimi Naturals, like how today Lakme and these companies have. Now they are doing their sales. Of course, they are giving it to B2B clients, they have not stopped it. But through online channel, they have opened up a retail chain. Now, sitting in, let's say, Guwahati, I can just open their website, I can order a face cream, and they don't have to care about and they don't have to worry about the logistics. Because these days, third-party logistics are easily, integrated. Someone just comes to your website, he clicks, he buys the product, automatically people from Chiprocket, Delhi, there are numerous people. They automatically come to your manufacturing unit, they pick up the product and they ship it. They have a percentage or a fees. You don't have to do anything. But now what you have done is, आपका product पूरी दुनिया में बिक सकता है. You have opened up the thing. You are not confined your business. You have not just put it in just one thing. Chalo, let's just keep it confined. And it is not like he has stopped his earlier business. It is just one more thing he has opened up, with just putting 2 to 3 members in his team. But that revenue channel is now earning around 50 to 60 lakhs per month in a cosmetic unit. Recently, they were valued at around $3 million and they raised a funding of $200,000 in India from Gold and from Sequoia Capital. Now that is the value of a brand. This is how 10 years down the line they can build a unicorn like Ola, like Uber. Like for example, everything if it is in a digital system, in an ecosystem with technology, with system center, it can have huge valuations. Any company. A very small example here. हमारे इंडिया में राशन की दुकान हजारों सालों से है, किराना स्टोर, राशन की दुकान, but it's not a scalable business. भाई ठीक है, वो रोज आते हैं, we purchase the groceries, एक limited profit and loss हो गया. What did DMart do? उन्होंने सारे किराने स्टोर्स को एक प्लेटफॉर्म पर लाए. They organized it, एक system centric business बनाया, called as DMart. Chains open किए, franchisee model दिया, currently. And because of this, आज का valuation है $1,000 billions. It's not a new concept. Like this is something everyone needs. Same with let's say if I talk about Ola or Uber. Ola or Uber, they don't own any, not even a single taxi, but they have a tech platform जहाँ पर उन्होंने digital ecosystem से customer acquire किया, audience acquire किया. These days the money and the valuation is based on your audience. The reason I'm telling you is I even have a company which is into gaming and technology. That's called as gamertweak.com. It's a publishing house. Again, it's for entire gamers. And my clientele is just people from US and Canada. Currently, they have 10 million users every month on our platform. And only through AdSense, we have a hefty amount just through ads. That we because I tell people I have a 10 million audience. Now you advertise your product on my website and you give me this money. So people, companies like Dell, companies like Toshiba, everyone they line up because they have huge gaming audience. So if I talk about our scenario, what everyone could do is this social media has become a credibility checker. पहले हम एक दूसरे से पूछते थे ये बिजनेस कैसा है, ये रेस्टोरेंट कैसा है, जाने लायक है क्या. आजकल कोई नहीं पूछता, सब रिव्यूज देख लेते हैं, उसके हिसाब से डिसाइड कर लेते हैं. प्रैक्टो पे डॉक्टर्स का रिव्यू देख लेते हैं, अपॉइंटमेंट बुक कर लेते हैं. So everything has become digital. Now I'll give you a stat. India में, as per the IBEF reports, 312 million, 31 crore लोग are doing online shopping. Everything they wanted on a click of their cell phone or a laptop. They don't have to physically go out, and that includes everyone, right from a kid to an old age person. Everyone. US makes 25 CR, and अगले 5 सालों में this number will exponentially increase. And everyone knows about it. With the trend they have seen in the last 5 years, the dependability on their online marketing. I'll just share a few numbers with you, which you have got to know. The AdSense worldwide graph, where we spend for digital advertisement. In 2022, or let's say the digital AdSense graph is $441 billion. इतना advertising budget लोगों ने online spend किया और इतना online transactions हुए. In 2024, it will be $526 billion. मतलब half a trillion. मतलब तकरीबन 35 to 40 lakh crore का खाली advertising budget और transactions सिर्फ online Google पे हुआ. Google has an ecosystem. वहाँ पर खाली हुआ. So and this will keep on increasing. And उसमें से 33% is just social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Because I need to know if I am starting any business. Even if I have a small jewelry business, मैं अपना कुछ बना के ऑनलाइन वेबसाइट पर डाल के एडवर्टाइजिंग करूँ, मैं अपना क्लाइंट बेस पूरे वर्ल्ड में बना सकता हूँ. Through exporters, through shippers and everything, I can sell it to everyone. So any business, I mean, I just cannot get into each and every business. Every business requires some or the other marketing thing. That's your credibility. That's how you look. जैसे बोलते हैं जो दिखता है वो दिखता है. So until unless you are seen, I mean, you can't sell. You have to be seen all across. बार-बार देखो लोगों को तो people will be forced to buy you. Yeah, let's just actually try it out. And if your product is good, people try it out once. Your product is good, you have retained the customer. And वो customer lifetime आपसे खरीदेगा. That's a customer lifetime value that you have retained. So maybe एक बार starting में लगेगा कि to acquire a customer, we are paying more money. But if you look at 5 years trajectory of that customer, it will have huge returns. And that is how we build it down. Like boat, now they have crossed around 1,500 crore revenue. Now it is not through everything is not through retail or supply chain, and they are paying on good margins because most of the time they are just doing their marketing. Everywhere I go online, I have board speakers, everything. So this is a digital presence they have made, and everyone out here is active on social media. Everyone, and that is the reason. Let us be seen where people want us to be seen, and this is why we have started this. So I've just kept a small presentation out there. Everything what as a company Promodome we do is right from your present, that is website development, your customized marketing solutions, your SEO. Now SEO is a very important term. Have anyone heard about SEO? That's search engine optimization.
Yeah.
But still there are many who don't know about SEO, so I definitely like to tell you guys. SEO is something that is basically a search engine optimization. Now if you search on Google, 5 best places, or maybe best place to buy flowers, or maybe best place to buy a cream, or best cream and sunscreen in the market, anything I'm talking about. Now you see the top 5 thing. Stats say out of 100 searches, 90 searches, 95 searches, top 3 में ही they click and they buy. आप खुद का एग्जाम्पल ले लीजिए. जिस दिन आपने गूगल पे कभी सर्च किया हो, is there a time जब आप कभी गूगल पे सेकंड पेज पे गए हो? कोई नहीं जाता है सेकंड पेज पे, तो let's just forget. आप देखोगे नंबर ऑफ पेजेस नीचे 100 होते हैं. You click on next, कुछ ना कुछ आता रहेगा. But लोग सिर्फ टॉप 3 4 को देखते हैं. Now it is not a quick time process कि आपका टॉप 3 में आएगा. It's an organic process. धीरे-धीरे टाइम लगता है. But over a period with the right approach, वो आ जाता है. We have done it for many companies. So edtech company है called as Simply Learn. अभी आजकल ads आ रहे हैं उनके टीवी पे. It is same like Byju's. So they are our clients. So the entire SEO and content marketing is being done by us. So and we've been doing it for last 1.5 years. So organic traffic हम लेके आ रहे हैं, and that's the reason they are increasing on this. So services like, as I said, website development, SEO, social media management. आज के टाइम पे हमें कुछ भी खरीदना होता है, so पहले हम उसके social media देखते हैं. अगर कोई furnitures खरीदना है या कुछ कहीं भी कोई architect है उसके services लेते हैं, तो what we will do is पहले उस कंपनी का Twitter, Facebook, Instagram पेज देखते हैं, उसके डिजाइन्स कैसे हैं, उसके followers कितने हैं, legitimate है कि नहीं. Maybe social media पेज खोलने से आपकी सेल नहीं बढ़ेगी, but एक credibility check होता है. अच्छा चलो ये he is present everywhere, he is a credible company. क्योंकि ऑनलाइन होने से काफी एक क्रेडिबिलिटी फैक्टर बढ़ जाता है. उसके बाद राइट फ्रॉम यूट्यूब एडवर्टाइजमेंट, इन्फ्लुएंसर मार्केटिंग, आई मीन एनीथिंग रिलेटेड टू 360 डिग्री डिजिटल स्क्रीन, वी आर अप फॉर इट. PR, public relations, wherein your articles, everything is being taken care by us. So every business, maybe some business do you think they don't need immediately some digital marketing, but what they could do is they can start with a very good and appealing website. Website आपका online office है. आपके ऑफिस में maybe 100 में से 10 लोग physically आ पाते होंगे, but 100 के 100 लोग आपकी website पे जरूर जाएंगे, and that is your virtual office. And वो कितना appealing और वो कितना अच्छा दिखता है, that also determines कि आपका business कितना अच्छा है. It is a one-time investment. एक website बहुत अच्छी बनानी है, but किसी को भी हम आगे देते हैं, आप connect करेंगे, किसी को बोलेंगे, तो when you send the website, the level of professionalism, the level of work जो आप कर रहे हैं, वो आपके website पे भी दिखना चाहिए. This appealing the website should be. उसके बाद as per the business needs, जिसको जो लगे, जैसे I just heard someone was asking about the question of lead generation. Gentlemen, exports for exports. Yeah, example. Now lead generation is one of a very great big service we do. Now builders that we have clients such as Runwal builders. Now किसी को लगे यार बिल्डर्स को सोशल मीडिया क्यों कराना, उनको तो एक बिल्डिंग बनाए बेचा निकल गए. Means that's how they work. But still, the digital marketing used there is now let's say they have 300 flats to sell, or maybe it's 100 flats to sell. Each flat is 3 crore. They have an inventory of 300 crores to be sold. What they do is they take out 1 crore as a marketing budget. They heavily spend on Google and Facebook, and we generate leads for them. Now every day we give them thousands of leads based on the amount. I mean whatever the cost per lead is, and they have the sales team. They keep on calling and they close it. So within 3 months we had sold. There is a project of Runwal in Lower Parel called as Runwal Christie. So we were there for 3 months. 3 months the entire project was sold out, and the costing which they had to give the brokers को उनको usually 2 या 3% देने पड़ता है minimum. तो अगर 300 crores की inventory होती, so they had to give 10 to 15 crores to brokers. But what they did was, due to digital marketing and sales team, उन्होंने 2 से 2.5 करोड़ के अंदर पूरा इन्वेंटरी खत्म कर दिया 300 करोड़. Now that is a 75% profit for them. So this is every stage with a digital marketing, it is cost effective. You can always think कि हम कहाँ apply कर सकते हैं, and हर business में apply होगा. So I think guys now time अब जो आ गया, the decade which is in front of us is completely digital. So instead of fighting with it, let us adapt it and let us make the most use of it. And yes, thank you very much. So that was into digital marketing. Any questions, guys, please?
I would like to ask one question. What kind of charges that you charge?
So, sir, it is a custom, because it's a service industry, it is a customized service. It depends on the service you take. Let's say, for example, if you want to go for a website development. Now, we said for a website development, we build a scope of work. Like, how big is your website? Is it just a portfolio website? Or you have to have an entire backend, a database? So, depending on the scope of work, a man hours is calculated, and according to that, we charge.
Even the payment gateway also that you...
Everything. Right from payment gateway, database, management server, everything. The first thing would be UI UX design. The first thing, basic would the way the website looks. That's the entire designing process. So we've got teams for separate people. So charges, if there's something we can discuss, and I can definitely, my team can coordinate.
Okay.
The same question. Do you have any packages for social media and stuff? Or?
For social media, we do have packages. That's a basic, but again, understanding, we always recommend that we give a one-to-one customized solution for everyone. Because your business might be different from his business might be different from other person's business. Now, if we just give you a common package, I am selling, मुझे पैसे आ रहे हैं, but my success stories are linked to your success stories. So I prefer to give you a one-to-one customized package. I'll tell you कि आपको इसकी ज़रूरत नहीं है, let's not do this. Why to waste money here? Instead, you put more in this. So we do have packages, yes. And for all the services, you can always visit our website promodo.in.
इंडिया मार्ट आपके उसमें क्या
इंडिया मार्ट
सिस्टम यहाँ पे है या कुछ
नहीं, हमारा इंडिया मार्ट एक डिफरेंट है. इंडिया मार्ट आई थिंक एक होलसेलर्स और एक्सपोर्टर्स का एक एग्रीगेटेड प्लेटफॉर्म है. वहाँ पर लेट्स से आपका जो बिजनेस होता है, आप उसको ईयरली कुछ 10-15 हज़ार के सब्सक्रिप्शन पे लिस्ट करते हैं, एंड
ऐसा नहीं है. इंडिया मार्ट में भी बहुत
Sir, I'll just interrupt you. We'll get to some questions later on. There are the two other introductions. So we'll have some
absolutely
one-on-one.
So we'll have it during the network. Thank you everyone. Thank you.
So we have two short introductions. I'll invite Mahindra Jagannath Mahamulkar. He's from the Neo Growth. I'll request them to make a short introduction of his company.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak on behalf of my company. My name is Mahendra. I am representing Neo Growth Credit Private Limited. We are into unsecured business lending space. Basically, loans to bridge your short-term working capital requirement. These are loans ranging from 10 lakhs to 75 lakhs. It's a loan tenure with short tenure of 2 years. Repayment is through EMIs, monthly EMI. And we have a bouquet of products to cater to your needs. Right from like vendor financing, channel financing, for retailers we have a product. So for every SME segment we have different products to cater to your needs. This is basically just to bridge your short-term working capital requirement. The loans are totally unsecured. What we have to give us is just your 6 months bank statement and last 2 years financial, and we will judge the loan amount. This is that. And it's a quick process. It's a digital lending basically. So we do it basically within 5 to 7 working days. And we have a stall here. For any of your business loan queries, you can visit our stall and get the more information about the product. Thank you.
What is the interest rate?
It ranges from 18 to 20%.
Thank you, Mr. Mahendra. Now I'll invite Prenul Shah, Red Market Ventures LLP, to give introduction.
Snehan from Readymade Ventures. So we are a financial and business consulting advisory located out of Mumbai. We offer 360-degree consulting services to our clients, including startups and SMEs. Our services include mentoring, company formation, and setup to valuation and raising capital. We also offer mergers and acquisition services to our clients within India and overseas. Over our tenure, we have handled and delivered various projects in full or partial, including those requiring debt and equity. Amongst our clients are SMEs and MSMEs. We have large corporates that we have handled, that is Asuja eServe, RJ Feeds, and many more. We host a range of experts providing 360-degree consulting right from company formation to capital raising. This includes both, that is debt and equity. We offer debt services from domestic and international sources, including banks, NBFCs, HNIs, family offices, and private lenders. We support all kinds of commercial organizations to raise capital when required, despite this status by way of offering innovative capital raising solutions. So for any further queries, please meet us at the booth. My sales team is available and we can discuss further for any type of queries that you have, right from company formation up to capital raising, anything in between. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. So, thank you very much, friends. So, we are about to end this conference summit. We talk about finance, technology, exports, government scheme, incentives, innovation, GST, obviously. So, from on behalf of SME Chamber, I am thankful all of you guys, all the entrepreneurs who have attended today's program. SME की पूरी टीम की तरफ से मैं आपको सभी को धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगा. हमारे जो भी स्पीकर्स आज के थे, जो भी स्पॉन्सर्स यहाँ पे हैं, all the support team of chamber, SME chamber के member बन जाइए and whatever the services we are offering, services का लाभ उठाइए. आपको जो भी कुछ information चाहिए, जो भी कुछ requirement होती है, you write to us, लिखिए हमें, हमें बताइए. This will be a something collectively efforts for the development of the MSME sector. आपके भलाई के लिए सब कुछ है. आपको just जानना चाहिए कि कहाँ से क्या मिलता है, कहाँ से क्या नहीं मिलता है, knowledge कहाँ से मिलता है, and how you are utilizing that knowledge for the benefit of your organization. Capabilities increase करने के लिए, capacities increase करने के लिए. Apart from this, आपके जो भी कुछ queries रहेंगे आप हमें बताइए. We will try to solve those queries. कुछ अगर exclusive आपको information चाहिए, export के ऊपर है, technology transfer के ऊपर है, joints के ऊपर, venture के ऊपर है. नए अभी कुछ laws और ये introduce हुए हैं. Free trade agreements के बारे में अगर कुछ आपको information चाहिए, आप हमें बताइए. We will try to give the all 360-degree solutions. So, on behalf of again SME Chamber and the entire team, I am very much thankful to you. So we are ending with this summit over here. Thank you very much. Thank you everybody.